So now we are going to start the chapter of foreign companies. And again, that is chapter number 22 of the Companies Act, consisting from section 379 to 393. Right. So chapter of foreign companies, very simple chapter, very easy chapter, chapter number 22 of the Companies Act, section 379 to 393. As you can see, only chapter of 14 sections. This chapter is only there of 14 sections, and none of the sections are very big. There are many sections in this, that will be just 2 or 3 lines. So it is going to be a very simple chapter, but at the same time, there are few things which are technical. There are few things, but overall the chapter is simple. So this chapter of foreign companies. And when we talk about the applicability of this chapter is again going to be important for your exams. 5 to 6 marks you can expect that, okay, you will get from this very chapter. Earlier this chapter used to be there in CA final, and again now the institute has shifted it from CA final and put it in CA inter. And the irony is that before it was there in CA final, this used to be there in CA inter. Again after that the institute put it in CA final, and now again the institute has put it in CA inter. So in our book, you will be seeing this particular chapter in chapter number 7. In the ICI study module, you will be seeing this particular chapter in chapter number 11. But technically we both are wrong, and this particular chapter is chapter number 22 of the Companies Act. I always make my students, that you must also know that, okay, in which chapter of the Companies Act the provisions are there. So that thing also you must know as you are law students. So chapter number 22, that is section 379 to 393. First of all, just try to understand one thing. In the basic definitions chapter, we understood the definition of 2 concepts. One, we studied the definition of company, that was there in section 2 clause 20, and another we studied the definition of body corporate, that was there in section 2 clause 11. So one, we studied the definition of company, that was there in section 2 clause 20, and other we studied the definition of body corporate, that was there in section 2 clause 11. Right. Now when we talk about company versus body corporate, so when we talk about the word foreign company, or when we talk about companies those are not incorporated in India, so tell me one thing, this company is incorporated outside India, although the first word they have used is companies. The first word they have used is companies. But this particular companies, they will come in the definition of companies, or they will go in the definition of body corporate. They will go in the definition of body corporate. They will not go in the definition of company. Is everyone clear about it? And what was the logic behind it? That, yeah, in the definition of company given under Companies Act 2013, what we stated was companies means any company that is registered in the Companies Act 2013 or any previous companies law. Now, is foreign company registered under any Companies Act in India? No. These foreign companies are registered under some company law outside India. We don't even know there the word they have used is company law, or there the word they have used is some, corporate law or something else. So they are registered in some laws outside India, in some company law outside India. They are not registered in the company's law in India. And that is why foreign company will come in the definition of body corporate. Now, if you see the definition of body corporate given in section 2 clause 11, in the definition of body corporate, it was given that companies, body corporate includes, the wording they had used is body corporate includes companies incorporated outside India. Body corporate includes companies incorporated outside India. So that is why the word foreign company, when we use, or when we use companies incorporated outside India, again in that particular scenario, it is not a company as per the Companies Act, it is a body corporate. Be very, very clear about it. Clear? If you talk about any kind of Indian company, is that also a body corporate? Even an Indian company you can call as body corporate, but the more specific word is company. Because the word body corporate, the definition, in the definition it was given, body corporate includes. Body corporate includes. So that was the inclusive definition. So they are only trying to say body corporate also includes the Videshi companies. Body corporate also includes those companies that are not registered outside India, that are registered outside India. But technically, practically, Indian company, we don't call them body corporate. You can call them body corporate also as per the literal definition. But practically in real life also, normally Indian companies will never call them body corporate, we'll call them company. But foreign company, we call them, it's a body corporate. Right, foreign company, we call them as a body corporate. I believe it is very, very clear. Right, now the sections given is section 379 to 393. Now, because it is a foreign company, those typical procedures of incorporation, you are not going to study. Because again, they are automatically incorporated outside India, and they will be just, they will just start and coming and doing business in India. So incorporation thing is not relevant for us, because they are already incorporated under some law, in some act. So they are incorporated. But technically you just think logically, when they will come to India to do business, when they will come to India to do business, in that particular scenario, which is the authority they will have to inform? ROC, Registrar of Companies, ROC. Now, which ROC? Again, a very good question. Which ROC? If you were a company that is, you are starting doing the business in Maharashtra, you are informing to the Maharashtra ROC. If you are, let us say you are starting to do business in Karnataka normally, you are informing to the Karnataka ROC. Now, when we talk about foreign company, when we talk about foreign company, since it is a Videshi company, so that is why when they will come and start doing the work, they will have to inform about it to the central ROC. ROC New Delhi. They will have to inform to the central ROC. ROC New Delhi. So their direct reporting will be with the ROC New Delhi, because that is a foreign company. Now, just think one thing. Logically, you tell me one thing. There are few foreign companies. There are many foreign. There are lakhs of foreign companies in this world. Is every foreign company doing the business in India? No. Only a few of them are coming and doing the business in India, right? Yeah. Like we see Apple, okay, it is coming and doing the business in India. If we see the Microsoft is coming and doing the business in India. Adidas, it is coming and doing the business in India. Cadbury, it is coming and doing business in India. So there are few companies who are coming and doing business in India. And there are lakhs of companies who are not coming and doing the business in India. So technically, you tell me logically, in this particular chapter, will be concerned with those companies who are not coming and doing business in India, or we are concerned with those companies who are coming and doing business in India? We are concerned with those companies who are coming and doing business in India. Otherwise, there are lakhs of companies here and there who are working somewhere in their country. We are not going to poke our nose into them. We are concerned with those companies who are coming and doing the business in India. It is logical. Yes. So that is why when we'll use the definition of foreign company, when we will study the definition of foreign company, section 2 plus 42. In the definition of foreign company, it is given that foreign company means a company incorporated outside India but carrying on business in India. What is the definition of foreign company? They say foreign company means a company incorporated outside India but carrying on the business in India. And those companies are covered here, because incorporated outside India, somewhere in some country, but not coming and doing the business in our country, we are not concerned. We have just included those companies also in the definition of body corporate. We have just included those companies also in the definition of body corporate. But when we talk about foreign companies, in this particular scenario, Foreign companies will only include those companies who are incorporated outside India but coming and doing business in India. So technically, just be clear with the difference of the words company versus body corporate versus foreign company. The word company that is defined in section 2 clause 20. And when we talk about company defined under section 2 clause 20, do remember we are talking only about Indian companies. We are talking only about Indian companies. When we'll see the definition of section 2 clause 11 body corporate. So body corporate includes Indian companies plus foreign companies. Indian companies plus foreign companies, and these foreign companies, they might be carrying the business in India or they may not be carrying the business in India. When we just use the word body corporate, they may or they may not be carrying the business in India. So foreign companies, actually using the word foreign companies will be wrong, because if we'll use the word foreign company, that will come to section 2 clause 42. So the appropriate usage of words will be companies incorporated outside India, whether doing business in India or not. Whether doing business in India or not. Clear? And when we'll talk about the definition, foreign company, section 2 clause 42, foreign company. Again, in the definition of foreign company, they are very much clear. Foreign company means now a company incorporated outside India, but which is also carrying on the business in India. Company incorporated outside India and doing business in India. And again, for these companies, we have made chapter number 22. Again, for these companies, we have made chapter number 22, and we will talk about section 379 to 393. So technically, these are also body corporates. Technically, these are also body corporates. Yes. I believe the base difference is clear. Company versus body corporate versus foreign company, because that base should be clear so that you will not have any confusion. Note it down, everyone. Everyone is done, noted? So everyone is done. So again, companies incorporated outside India, chapter number 22, section 379 to 393. So what we are going to study in this chapter, just take an overview what we are going to study in this chapter. First of all, we are going to study section 379. The first section normally talks about the applicability. So here also the first section will talk about applicability, that when will be the act applicable to foreign company. When will this particular act be applicable to foreign company? When will this chapter be applicable to foreign company? Then once the foreign company comes and start doing its business in India, they will have to inform the ROC about it. They will have to inform the ROC about it. So section 380 says what are the documents the foreign companies have to file to the ROC. What are the documents the foreign companies have to file to the ROC? Just like the Indian companies are required to file their documents to the ROC, similarly the foreign companies will also be required to file documents to the ROC. And just like the Indian companies are required to maintain their accounts, the foreign companies are also required to maintain their accounts, although for them the manner is going to be a little different, but even they are required to maintain their accounts, and that is given in section 381. So the first three sections, section 379, 380, 381. Section 379 is going to talk about the applicability of the act. Section 380 is going to talk about the documents to be delivered to the ROC, and section 381 is going to talk about accounts, how we are going to maintain the accounts, right? So in section 379, what we are going to study? Applicability of act. 380, documents to be delivered to the ROC, and 381, accounts. We'll be repeating this 11 times. Section 379, 380, 381, 379, 380, 381, 379, 380, 381, 379, 380, 381, 379, 380, 381, 379, 380, 381, 381, right? Now, definition of foreign companies, that is given in section 2 plus 42. So again, the definition of foreign company, that is the exhaustive definition. Foreign company means any company or body corporate incorporated outside India. Foreign company means any company or body corporate incorporated outside India. What they are saying? Which has a place of business in India. Now you see, when we talk about place of business, when we talk about place of business, in that particular scenario, nowadays in the modern scenario, the word place of business itself is big. When we talk about place of business, it is not important that the company is physically sitting and doing the business. It may also happen that the company is doing business in India electronically. Now you see, there are many foreign companies which are providing digital marketing services. They are not having their physical branches, but they are providing digital marketing services. There are many foreign companies that are providing designing services. There are many foreign companies that are providing web-based services, designing websites for the Indian companies and all. They are not having some physical office in India, but they provide services in electronic mode, right? There are many app-based services. There are many app-based services, mobile app-based services. So even that will be counted in the place of business. Even that will be counted in the place of business. Or maybe the company is not doing business by itself. But let us say there is a car manufacturer outside India. They are not having a place of business in India technically, but they have appointed agents in India. They have appointed agents in India across places to sell their cars. And they give commissions to the agents. So technically speaking, then also they are doing business in India, na? Even though they are not having a place of business in India, but technically speaking, then also they are doing business in India. So that is also regarded as a place of business. So when here we talk about place of business will also include the physical place that you normally imagine. But at the same time, it will also include if the business company is doing the business through agents. And it will also include if the company is doing business through electronic mode. Is it clear? So point number 1, they say has a place of business in India. And now they have used the word and. They have used the word and. Conducts any business activity in India in any other manner. Conducts any business activity in India in any other manner. They have a place of business and they are doing business. In short, they are having a place of business and they are doing business. They are having a place of business and they are doing the business. Is it clear? Yeah, that they are having a place of business and they are doing some business. But let me tell you one thing. The word in the definition used is and. Means both the conditions must be satisfied. But if you think very logically, using the word and here gives a disruptive meaning. Using the word and here gives a illogical meaning. Because what they are saying, you should have a place of business in India and you are conducting any business activity in India. But there are many companies which do not have a place of business in India, but they have a business activity. They conduct business activity in India. They conduct business activity in India in some way or the other. Right? They conduct business activities in India. There are many companies that do not have a physical place of business, but they are conducting business in India in some way or the other. So technically speaking, if you apply the word and, there will be many companies who will say that we are not included in the definition of foreign company because we are not doing business activity in India, or we are not having a place of business in India. Sorry, we are not having a place of business in India, even though they are doing business activity in India. So practically this and we imply as or. For exam, you have to write and only. Don't write an exam or, but just for your understanding, I am saying. In practical life, we take this and as or. Can we do like this? In the chapter of interpretation of statutes, what you are going to study, one thing is that law में जो जैसा लिखा है उसको वैसे read करो. And is written, read as and. Shall is written, read as shall. But जो जैसा लिखा है उसको ऐसे read करने से, if the meaning is illogical, then you can change it also. Like reading and as and, if that is giving an illogical meaning, you can make it or also. But that is not for the common citizens. That is written actually for the judges when they give some judgment and all. Clear? So just for your practical understanding, I am saying. But you have to remember and only. So place of business in India, whether by itself or through an agent, physically or through electronic mode, and conducts any business activity in India in any other manner. Now they have clarified electronic mode. What do we mean by electronic mode? So they are saying they are doing the business digitally, digital India. Right, electronic mode. Any kind of business. You see Amazon, that is doing the business digitally in electronic mode. It is a foreign company. Flipkart is an Indian company only, sorry. Amazon, that is a foreign company. Then there are many services who are doing financial settlements work. For example, PayPal. You must be using the services of PayPal when you are doing transactions. When you are paying through debit card and all, then the PayPal server comes. You are paying the payment through PayPal. Now that PayPal is a foreign company. It is having a place of business in India through electronic mode. It is doing the business in India through electronic mode. It is doing the financial settlement work. So even that is a foreign company. There will be many web-based companies in India who are accepting deposits. You can give them deposits. They will give you interest. Even they are the foreign companies. There are many companies who are doing telecommunication work. Even they will be regarded as, foreign companies. There are many companies who are electronically online dealing into medicines. You can consult that. There are many companies. They will connect you to foreign doctors. They are dealing into medicines. They are doing the business of research development. Even they will come in foreign companies. So they have increased the horizon. They have increased the scope. And they have also clarified, when we talk about electronic mode, it does not mean that their server is installed in India, their main server. No, it does not mean that their main server is installed in India. Their server might be installed in Japan, Switzerland, Pakistan, anywhere across the world. But the point is that they are doing business in India by electronic mode. And any business, they are covering anything. This is only an illustrative list. This is only an illustrative list. So you see the language what they have used. According to Companies Registration of Foreign Companies Rules 2014. Now the rules used in this particular chapter is Companies Registration of Foreign Companies Rules. The rules used in this particular chapter is Companies Registration of Foreign Companies Rules. So according to Companies Registration of Foreign Companies Rules 2014, electronic mode means carrying out electronically based, whether main server is installed in India or not, including but not limited to. They have clarified. Ye mat sochna ki what we have written only that is there. The companies are very smart. They will think of something else. But this is just a list. They are just trying to say that you do anything in India electronically, you will be covered in foreign company. Like any company that is doing business to business, B2B model. You have heard na B2B model, B2C model. Some businesses are directly dealing with the other business houses, B2B. Some businesses are directly dealing with the customers, B2C. So whether any foreign company is dealing with B2B or B2C, like Amazon, it is doing both. It is doing business to business also. It is doing business to consumer also. Data interchange, offering to accept deposits or inviting deposits from the Indian citizens. But electronically, any company is offering to accept deposits or accepting deposits. Even those companies will be covered. Those are companies who are doing the work of financial settlement like PayPal. Web-based marketing, Google Ads, Google is doing. Google itself is doing. Advisory and transaction services. Many of them are providing consultancy services. Many of the foreign companies are providing consultancy services online. Even they will be covered. Database service and products, supply chain management, online services such as telemarketing, telecomputing, telemedicine, education. You just think logically, tum kuch bhi electronic karo, you do anything, you are covered in foreign company. You are covered in foreign company. And however you do by mobile app, you do by some cloud, you do by some email, you do by some voice transmission. Let us say they have opened a WhatsApp network, from their agent is sending you voice messages, you are responding to the voice messages, however they do. So everything they have covered. Everything it is covered in the electronic communication. They have just clarified that for the purpose of this clause, electronic based offering of securities in the International Financial Service Center set up in the special economic zone, that is IFSC. If electronically some securities are offered for listing in the IFSC, International Financial Services Center, that we don't treat in electronic. So they have just clarified. Anyways, I don't think that if this particular point comes, you will think that it is coming in electronic mode. This is something different. So electronically, if securities are issued in the IFSC, that is not regarded as electronic. Mainly what is there? Like all the business to business, business to consumer, accepting deposits, financial settlement, web-based marketing, consultancy, education, medicine, anything, health sector, anything. So one example they have given, ABC Entertainment Limited, that is an Indian company, having a foreign subsidiary UVW Limited rendering satellite services to the group. तो नाउ एक इंडियन कंपनी है जिसकी एक फॉरेन सब्सिडरी है. देयर इज वन इंडियन कंपनी हैविंग वन फॉरेन सब्सिडरी, एंड व्हाट दैट फॉरेन सब्सिडरी इज डूइंग, दैट फॉरेन सब्सिडरी इज नॉट हैविंग एनी प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस इन इंडिया. दैट फॉरेन सब्सिडरी इज प्रोवाइडिंग सैटेलाइट सर्विसेज टू द ग्रुप. That foreign companies will be covering satellite services to the group. Even they will be covered in the definition of foreign company. Right. Similarly, there are many airline companies who operate in India, but what they do is they don't have any physical office. They do tie up with the Indian agents. So even they are covered in the definition of foreign companies. Right. Even they are covered. Zakpak Limited is a shipping company incorporated in Japan. Company has set up a branch office in India after obtaining necessary approvals from RBI. Very nice. So now, if the company has obtained a branch office in India, that will be regarded as in this particular point as a foreign company or no? Technically, that is also regarded as a foreign company. So even the branch offices, if company offices any branch offices in India, that will be also regarded as a foreign company. So भैया तुम branch खोलो, you do business through agent, you work through electronic mode, you provide satellite services, you provide web-based services, you provide services through mobile app, you provide services through email. The main objective is कि भैया तुम जैसे भी services India में provide कर रहे हो ना, and you are registered outside India, will call you a foreign company. Will call you a foreign company. Right. And let us say, if the company is not providing any business service in India, neither electronically, nor having physical office, nor they are having branches, nor they are having providing satellite services and all, so they will not be called foreign company. What they will be called? Body corporates. What they will be called? Body corporates. So technically, any company that is incorporated outside India, but that is not covered in the definition of foreign company, because they are not having a place of business in India and they are not providing any business activities in India. So what we will call them? Body corporates. And these companies, them also we can call body corporates or no? Yes, them also we can call body corporates. Even Reliance is a body corporate. Now, applicability of act to foreign companies. Applicability of act to foreign companies. Now, what they are saying? They are saying जितनी भी foreign companies हैं ना देश में, all the foreign companies. Now you understand foreign companies. So when you talk about foreign companies, this particular chapter consists of section 379 to 393. This particular chapter consists of section 379 to 393. Now, what they are saying? Section 380 to 386. And section 392 to 393 shall be applicable to all foreign companies. Means section 387 to 391 will not be applicable to all the foreign companies. 387 to 391 will not be applicable to all the foreign companies. But lawmaker is making things very confusing unnecessarily. Now they are saying 387 to 391 will not be applicable to foreign companies. But later on, in one particular place, what they say, even this sections 387 to 391, that will be applicable to body corporate. Now tell me one thing, if this 387 to 391 will be applicable to body corporate, it will automatically be applicable to foreign company or not? Yes. So sometimes the lawmaker, lawmaker unnecessarily confuses the things. Now, again in foreign companies, we have two categories. Please listen nicely. Again in foreign companies, we have two categories. First category, foreign companies, जिसमें mainly all the shareholders are foreigners, Firangis, doing business in India. And second situation, those foreign companies in which major shareholders are Indians doing business in India. One scenario, those foreign companies which are doing business in India, but majority of the shareholders are foreigners, Firangis. And second situation, those foreign companies which are doing business in India and the majority of the shareholders are Indians. The majority of the shareholders are Indians. Although it is incorporated outside India. Can an Indian citizen incorporate his company outside India or not? Yes. An Indian citizen, an Indian company can also incorporate his company outside India. So even if the foreign company, we can divide in two parts. Clear? So now there is a concept of Desi Indian foreign company. I'm just using this word for your convenience. Desi Indian foreign companies. Desi Indian foreign companies means नाम फिरंगी है, but दिल Indian है. Because members are Indians, no? So nature is फिरंगी, but दिल is Indian. ये दिल हिंदुस्तानी है. So what they are saying, and now you tell me one thing. ज्यादा compliances किसको होगा? Foreign companies, जो foreign companies है, फिरंगीज come and do business in India. We don't tell them to do many compliances of that. We tell them to do only limited compliances. If foreigners हैं, they are coming to do business in India, why to harass them with many laws? Why to harass them with many sections? But tell me one thing, logically, कौन से foreign company को ज्यादा compliances करना होगा? Majority of the shareholders are विदेशी और majority of the shareholders are Indians. Majority of the shareholders are Indians. If majority of the shareholders are Indians, that foreign company तो we will treat like you are incorporated in India only. If majority of the shareholders are Indians, that company we will treat like you are incorporated in India only. We will treat you like, अरे तुम तो Indians ही हो ना. Foreigners, when we see, अच्छा foreign company है, shareholders all विदेशी people, then we'll give them that foreigner वाला thing. But we'll say, अच्छा foreign company है, incorporated outside India, but shareholders तो all Indians only. So we'll treat it like it is a company incorporated in India only. And provisions of the Companies Act is going to be applicable to them. The provisions of all of the Companies Act is going to be applicable to them. It is very logical, right? So what they are saying, you see, requirements of holding of paid up share capital were not less than 50% of the paid up share capital. Were not less than 50% of the paid up share capital, whether it can be paid up equity paid up share capital, or it can be preference paid up share capital, or it can be 26% equity, 24% preference, or it can be 26% preference or 24% equity, anyhow. Will not less than 50% of the paid up share capital, whether equity or preference, is partly held by, is partly equity or partly preference of a foreign company incorporated outside India, is held by one or more citizens of India. Is held by one or more citizens of India. Sanidhya Saraf is holding 50% of the paid up share capital in some foreign company. Right? Or Sanidhya Saraf is holding 26% of the paid up share capital of some foreign company, and Shah Rukh Khan is holding with me 25% of the paid up share capital in that particular company. Or it may happen that Sanidhya Saraf is holding 13% equity of that foreign company and 12% preference of that foreign company, and Shah Rukh Khan is holding 20% preference and 10% equity of that foreign company. Anyway, is held by one or more Indian citizens, or by one or more companies or body corporate incorporated in India. Or let us say Reliance is holding 50% share in the company, or Reliance is holding 26% share in the company, Tata is holding 25% share in the company, or Reliance is holding 20% share in the company, Tata is holding 20% share in the company, or let us say Infosys is holding 15% share in the company. Or it may also happen that Reliance is holding 26% share Sanidhya Saraf is holding 25%. Because what they are saying, that if at least 50% of the paid up share capital of the foreign company is held either by Indian citizens or the body corporate in India or the Indian company or jointly by them, by one or more citizens of India, one or more body corporate in India, anyhow, there is one particular foreign company doing business, Shah Rukh Khan is holding 10%, Sanidhya Saraf is holding 10%, Reliance is holding 10%, Infosys is holding 10%, Tata is holding 10%, even that company. Ultimately, holding is done by the Indian, whether it's an Indian citizen or an Indian company or an Indian body corporate. Ultimately, holding is done by the company. Then वो क्या हो जाएगा? देसी foreign company. What that company will become? देसी foreign company. That हम बोलेंगे भली foreign company है, दिल तो देसी है. Whether singly or in aggregate, such foreign company also has to comply with the provisions of chapter 22. They will have to comply with the provisions of chapter 22, means all the sections. Normally what we say, that to foreign company they have to comply section 380 to 386 and 392 to 393. But if it is a desi foreign company, they will have to comply all the provisions of chapter 22. And such other provisions of this act as may be prescribed with regard to the business carried out by in India. And जो भी business वो इंडिया में करेंगे, whatever business they are doing in India, they will have to comply with all the other provisions as if it were a company incorporated in India. तो normally एक Indian company को जो provisions comply करना होता है, they will also have to comply all the provisions with respect to their Indian business. Because what we are saying is that in that particular company, the majority of the shareholding is by the Indians only. Yeah. Why we are converting into that Indian company?
We'll treat as a body corporate, but we record it.
That is a foreign company only for the purpose of applicability of laws. More sections will be applicable to them. That's it. That is a foreign company only, na. But because the majority of the holding is done by the Indian, so we treat like it is an Indian company only for the purpose of applicability of the sections. That more sections are applicable on them. If the government wants, government can apply more sections on them because they are Indians only. Technically, the major shareholders are Indians only. So in foreign companies, there are two concepts. One is pure foreign companies and another is desi foreign companies. Desi foreign companies means at least 50% of the paid up share capital, whether equity or preference, whether held by Indian citizens or whether held by an Indian company or whether held by a body corporate in India, or maybe partly by the Indian citizen, partly by the company in India, partly by the body corporate in India, anyhow. Then provision company ka sara sections will be applicable on them, and such other provisions as may be prescribed they are using. So it is not that currently उनके ऊपर पूरा Companies Act लगता है, but government has the power कि if government wants, government चाहे तो पूरा Companies Act भी उनके ऊपर applicable कर सकती है. So that is why it is using the word as may be prescribed. Currently as such ऐसा नहीं है कि for them the entire act is applicable, but if the government wants, government चाहे तो treating them as a like a Indian company, government उनके ऊपर पूरा एक्ट भी applicable कर सकती है for the business they are doing in India. But you see, when you study the starting part of the chapter, no, so you feel, oh, for foreign companies only selective sections is applicable. Only section 387 to 380 to 386 is applicable. Only section 392 to 393 is applicable. But later on, जैसे जैसे चैप्टर में आगे बढ़ेंगे, what you will feel is that पहले तो government told that okay, for the foreign companies only section 380 to 386 is applicable and 392 to 393 is applicable. But जैसे जैसे lawmaker made law, he proceeded towards the chapter वो होता ना दिल मांगे मोर, we are not satisfied, our greed increases. So you will see in different places they will use. अच्छा 386 to 391, 387 to 391 से भी give exemption or what? कोई बात नहीं, the body corporate must follow it. अरे the body corporate must follow it means automatically the foreign companies will follow it. Then you will see in one place they will write, you do one thing, the provisions of company accounts chapter 9, that is applicable to you. Then you will go ahead, you do one thing, audit भी तो कराना होगा. You are doing business in India, no? So the provisions of audit chapter 10 is also applicable to you. Then आगे बढ़ के you will see, let us say now this foreign company, they are issuing some, they are issuing IPO and all. The foreign company wants to, issue shares to the Indians. Oh, share issue कर रहे हो. Then prospectus chapter is also there, no? Prospectus chapter also you have to follow. So initially देख it feels that okay, only this many sections are applicable. But lawmaker ने इनको मामू बना दिया. And that धीरे-धीरे later on you will see, oh, section 387 to 391, we did not make it applicable. Oh, body corporates you have to follow. Then, oh, you have to maintain accounts also. No, we forgot about it. Provisions of company accounts chapter is applicable. Huh? Oh, you have to do audit also. No, we forgot about it. The provisions of company audit chapter is also applicable. Huh? Oh, you are issuing the share. The provisions of prospectus chapter is also applicable. Huh? Oh, you are doing something wrong. We have to do investigation also, no? So there is also a chapter in CA final, inquiry, inspection, investigation. The provisions of that chapter is also applicable, huh? So धीरे-धीरे you will see that almost all the important areas of the Companies Act they will make applicable only. But lawmaker does not, applicability of the act में ये नहीं कि directly बोल दे. They could have written directly in applicability. No. Now applicability is very clear. Now coming to very, very important section. Section 380, 381, very, very important sections. In CA final when this chapter used to be there, so many times the questions have come repeatedly only on section 380. At least 7 to 8 times the questions have come only on section 380. What are the documents to be filed to the ROC by the New Delhi? What are the documents to be filed by the foreign companies? So basically what they say is, you have to deliver some important documents to the ROC New Delhi. You will have to deliver some important documents to the ROC New Delhi. And कब तक deliver करना होगा? Within 30 days of the establishment of place of business in India. See, you don't need any approval from ROC as such. But basically what you have to do is, you set up the place of business in India, and within 30 days, you give us a list of documents. Within 30 days, you give us a list of documents. With fees or without fees? With fees. Foreign company है तो क्या हुआ भैया? Fees तो चाहिए. With fees. Now, what are the documents they have to file? What are the documents they have to file? You see, Memorandum of Association, Articles of Association, that is a very common thing. Memorandum of Association, Articles of Association, that is a very common thing. In many of the companies, they might not have memorandum concept. In many of the companies, they might not have article concept. So there will be some document defining their concept. There will be some main document. There will be some main document of the company. That is known as the charter. Charter of the company. The main document of the company. जो भी उनका main document होगा. जो भी उनका main document होगा. That we call as charter. So copy of your charter. Copy of your charter. Copy of your charter. Copy of your memorandum if you have. Copy of your articles. Copy of your charter. Now there is going to be one problem. Let us say there is a Spanish company that is coming and doing business in India. So their charter, their MOA, their AOA, that will be in English language or in Spanish language? Spanish language. नाउ जस्ट इमेजिन उन्होंने अपना वो स्पेनिश कॉपी है आरओसी को सबमिट कर दिया. आरओसी इज लाइक, हाँ ये क्या हुआ, व्हाट इज दिस, मुझे तो अंग्रेजी में मुश्किल से समझ आ रहा है, एंड यू हैव गिवन मी दिस स्पेनिश थिंग. सो व्हाट दे विल से, you do one thing, you also give a translated copy. You also give a translated copy. You translate the document in English and also give me a translated copy, right? But that should be a certified translated copy. Certified translated copy means it should not happen, no, you are saying, oh give me a translated copy, then the director of the company sitting there, okay, he asks the chat GPT, do one thing, translate this into Spanish and de diya. No, a certified persons, there are certified persons who have done the foreign courses, there are certified persons who are certified enough to do that translation. So that should be translated by a certified person, so that that copy is true and fair. That should be translated by a certified person, so that those copies are true and fair. So that is something you submit. Logical, no? Then you give a full address of your registered office or the principal office, जो भी आपका registered office है. You must also be having a registered office somewhere in Dubai, in Japan, in Spain, anywhere, जो भी आपका country of incorporation है. तो send us that address. कल को तुम यहाँ बदमाशी करके जाओगे तो where will go? So give us that address, full address of the registered office, the principal office of the company. Also give us the address of the place where you are carrying business in India. Also give us address of the place where you are carrying the business in India. Also give us a list of your directors and your secretaries, like Indian companies से भी मांगते थे. Give us a list of all your directors. Give us a list of all your directors. Give us a list of all your directors. सारे directors का details चाहिए, कौन कौन तुम्हारे directors हैं. We want full details. Their personal name, their surname, their formal name. Formal name also, huh? Let us say a person who was earlier called as Osama bin Laden, he changed his name to some Mr. Raju. He became a director of the company, wanting to set up business in India. They are giving the list of details of directors, Mr. Raju, but earlier he was Mr. Osama. So give us the formal name also, पुराना पहले कोई और नाम था तो. Mother's name also, spouse name also, date of birth also, residentiality address also, nationality also. He is a Indian, he is a Pakistani, he is a Afghanistani, he is from Dubai, he is from US. Yeah, passport number, the next one is that only, passport number, date of issue of passport, country of issue, in PAN number, उनके देश का जो भी पैन नंबर है, what occupation they are doing, if they are also a director in some Indian company, it is may happen na that the company that is setting up as a foreign company, their director is already a director in some other Indian company, then the director identification number of that company, corporate identity number of that company जिसमें आप director हो, right? If you are a company secretary, then give us your membership number. जो भी उनके कंपनी सेक्रेटरीज होंगे कंपनी के, their membership number, their mail ID, so all these details, list of directory and secretaries. Now you think one thing, अब ये जितने भी directors होंगे, mostly these directors will be foreigners, no? Mostly the chances are there that these directors will be foreigners, having someone is having address in USA, someone is having address in Japan and all that. We also want the name and address of those person. अरे भाई कोई तो होगा कंपनी में जो इंडिया का रेसिडेंट है, इंडिया में रहने वाला है. There must be someone in the company, no, who is an Indian resident, who stays in India. तो उनका नाम बताओ, उनका एड्रेस बताओ, so that if there is a problem, will be not be searching that particular director who is in Japan, will be searching that very person who is resident in India. So name and address, or the names and address of one or more persons who are resident in India and whom the company have authorized to accept on behalf of the company any document. So there will be some person in India whom the company will authorize that okay, he will receive documents on our behalf. Because Indian company तो है नहीं, having a registered office in India. So that is why the name and address of any person resident in India. The name and address of any person resident in India, authorized to accept on behalf of the company any service of process and any notices or documents. Now if someone is having any doubt, अरे सर कोई भी ऐसा नहीं है तो who is a resident in India? So let me tell you, in New Companies Act, they have also introduced a concept of resident director. That if any company is setting up a business in India, whether it's an Indian company or foreign company, at least one director must be resident director, who stays in India for at least 182 days. So that concept has already come in the New Companies Act. Yeah, resident. Then the full address of the office in India. तो इंडियन ऑफिस जो है उसका एड्रेस बताओ. If earlier, let us say if earlier you opened the office in India, if earlier also you have opened the office in India, tell the details of that also. That मैंने 3 साल पहले भी बिजनेस चालू किया था इंडिया में. If earlier you had closed the business in India, tell us the date of that also. That 5 years back we started a company in India. Then 2 years back we closed the company from India. Tell the details of that also. Tell the details of that also. They are asking every possible detail. They are asking every possible detail. कब आए थे, पहले कब आए थे, पहले कब गए थे, earlier when you came, earlier when you go, earlier when you went. Tell us everything. अरे it's a foreign company ना, it's not an Indian company. That सारे directors India के बैठे हुए हैं, all the persons are from India, all the members are from India. There is a huge risk. We want to check the everything background. We want to check all the background. If just imagine if there is some Indian company, they do business in India, they take the money from the members, they run away, even it becomes difficult to catch them also. If there is foreign company who comes and does business and takes the members from the public and runs away, where we will catch them? So we want all the possible details. A declaration that, you remember that there was a declaration for the Indian companies also, that the directors are not convicted. Yes, for any fraud or something like that in the last 5 years. Now again here declaration, this now here too it is very important. That declaration that none of the directors of the company or the authorized representative in India has ever been convicted or debarred from forming of companies in India or abroad. So declaration is needed that कोई भी director or the authorized representative of the company. Authorized representative means that person whom the company is authorizing as a resident in India to receive the documents and all. So declaration that ना उनका कोई director, ना उनका authorized representative, they have not been convicted or debarred from forming companies in India or abroad. Otherwise पता चला 10 years back they came in India. 10 years before they came in India, 10 years before they did business in India, that particular director did fraud. He took the money of the company and ran away, and that is why SEBI banned them that time, that you cannot do business. Or that particular director before India, that director went to Japan, that director started a company, did some fraud there. The Spanish government banned them, that run away from here, don't do business in Spain. So that person has now come in India. क्योंकि कोई बात नहीं, स्पेन में लोगों का नहीं बना पाया, इंडिया में जाके बनाता हूं. I could not fool the people there in Japan, I could not do fraud there, now let me go in India and do. So declaration is needed. What declaration? That none of the directors of the company or the authorized representative in India has ever been convicted or debarred from the formation of companies and management in India or abroad. Or any information as may be prescribed. Government ने बोला अभी ध्यान नहीं आ रहा, but later on if you remember, will specify other details in the rules. So any other information as may be prescribed. Any other information as may be prescribed. This law always writes nowadays at the last. That government takes the powers with itself. That later on if they want to add any document or add any requirement, they will not have to bring changes in the law. They will just, what they will do is, they will add in the rules. So these are the various documents that the companies need to file to the ROC. Very, very important. It can come in descriptive, it can come in MCQ, very, very important. Right. That these very documents the foreign companies are required to submit to the ROC. What is the form procedure time for making the application submission of documents? What they are saying, the above information shall be filed with the registrar within 30 days of the establishment of place of business in India in form FC1. Okay. Above application to be also submitted. Now you see what the ROC says. मेरे को डॉक्यूमेंट बाद में सबमिट करना. First go and take approval from RBI. Go and take approval from RBI under FEMA. Go and take approval from RBI under FEMA because foreign company is coming. Foreign company is coming. So FEMA Act will be there. FEMA Act is governed by RBI. The main regulatory authority is the RBI. So bola, first you do one thing. Before coming to me, you go and take the approval from the RBI. If any foreign company sets up any branch in India, they have to first take the approval of RBI. So first take the approval of RBI, and while submitting me these documents, also submit me a copy of the approval of RBI. And also submit me a document of the copy of approval of any other regulator. Let us say you need some approval from SEBI also. Then take the approval from SEBI. Along with this document, send me the approval copy of SEBI also. So ROC basically is not, because logic is very simple na. Like Indian companies में तो क्या होता था कि ROC is to give approval. Here ROC is not giving approval. Here you are just intimating to the ROC. ROC will then just register. That's it. So give all these documents to the ROC. ROC will verify one by one that okay, you have given all the documents. Now where these documents are to be delivered? कहाँ भेजोगे? A foreign company coming and setting up the place of business in Karnataka. No, they are required. If it is a foreign company, for them it's a central ROC. Government says, bhaiya, state governments, for them the state ROC is there for the companies doing the business in respective state. But if we are talking about foreign companies, it's the central ROC. It has to be the central ROC. According to companies, registration of foreign companies rules 2014. How to use these rules I will tell you. Huh? You cannot remember the rules. You cannot remember the rules. You cannot remember the rule numbers. But how to use these rules I will tell you. According to companies, registration of foreign companies rules 2014, any document which any foreign company is required to deliver to the registrar shall be delivered to the registrar having jurisdiction over New Delhi. तो जिस आरओसी का jurisdiction न्यू दिल्ली में है, the foreign company is required to submit to that very ROC. Yeah, if there is any change in the particulars, then again New Delhi. Suppose some director details they gave. Now they want to change the particulars. That this director has gone, this director has come. Then again that change in particulars will be sent to the ROC New Delhi within 30 days. It is given also here. It is given also that if there is any alteration, you want to alter any information, then again you have to send it to the ROC. If a foreign company ceases to have a place of business in India, if a foreign company ceases to place of business in India, जब आए थे तब भी ROC को बताना है, जब जा रहे हैं तब भी ROC को बताना है. When we came, we informed to ROC. When we are going, then also we are informing to ROC. If any foreign company ceases to have a place of business in India, it shall give again a notice of the fact to the registrar. It shall again give the notice of the fact to the registrar. And from the date on which such notice is so given, obligation of the company to deliver any document to the ROC shall cease. क्या मतलब हो गया? What do we mean? If foreign company comes to India, then the foreign company is required to deliver all these documents to the ROC. Now what do you think? This delivering of documents is not a one-time process. Now every year they have to file some copies to the ROC, like the Indian companies. They also need to file the copy of financial statements to the ROC. They also need to file the copy of annual returns to the ROC. If they also issue share or something, they also need to file the copy of prospectus to the ROC. If they file any resolution, then also. So basically, if with respect to the Indian business, so all those compliances will be there now. So then what we are saying, जब तुम जा रहे हो, when you are going, you cease to do your business in India, inform to ROC, I am going, bye bye, Tata, see you. And once you inform to the ROC, bye bye, Tata, see you, then in future you are not required to deliver any document to the ROC, provided that you don't have any place of business. You are saying bye bye, Tata, see you, but still you are continuing to have a place of business in India, then you will be required to continuously file the documents to the ROC. But you are saying bye bye, see you, जो place of business था उसको भी बंद करके जा रहे हो, then in future you are not required to deliver any documents to the ROC. So logical. The next point is not so relevant. You can strike it off also. It is just saying that if the foreign company came into India and they had not filed the documents as per 1956 Act, no problem at all. Now you can continue filing the documents required under Companies Act 2013. So no need. You can just strike this off. From form, procedure and time within which alteration in document shall be intimated to the registrar. So similarly, if there is any alteration to any information, let us say you are changing the place of business in India, then you need to submit the altered information to the ROC within 30 days of alteration along with the fee. And again the same intimation has to be done in New Delhi. This is form FC2. So when the companies came, they initially delivered the documents to ROC, that was in form FC1. And now if there is any alteration, that is in FC2. One illustration that is given, Search and Find Pty Limited incorporated in Singapore. The company sells its business through electronic mode on the e-commerce platforms in India. However, it does not have any branch or office in India. Is the company required to submit the documents as required under section 380? Yes. Now, section 380, very interesting, very easy, very logical. Now, section 381, accounts of foreign companies. That foreign companies also have to prepare their accounts. Foreign companies also have to prepare their accounts. Now, normally when we talk about the Indian companies are required to prepare their accounts. The Indian companies are required to prepare their accounts as per the financial year. Right? They are prepared to accounts in every financial year. Foreign companies have been given the flexibility to prepare the accounts in every calendar year. And what is the logic behind it, Because outside India, the concept of calendar year is followed. Outside India, the concept of financial year is not followed. So that is why, since the foreign companies are having their holding companies outside India, so for the purpose of consolidation, they make as per calendar year only. So here also they have given the permission to make as per calendar year. So in the definition of calendar year, financial year also, we studied a proviso that the foreign companies may take approval from the central government to take any year as financial year. That was the logic. Here also the lawmaker has done one blunder, if you see in the WAR Act. What is the blunder, In section 381, in section they wrote, every foreign company shall make in every calendar year balance sheet P&L, submit those documents to the ROC. While making the rules of section 381, rules बनाते वक्त they wrote, foreign companies shall in every financial year. So what they did is, section बनाते वक्त they have clearly written in every calendar year, rule बनाते वक्त लिख दिया in every financial year. Now what to do? Section बनाते वक्त they have written calendar year, rule बनाते वक्त they have written financial year, but section पहले बना, rule बाद में बना. What to do? Follow the section, because section is more powerful than the rule. If there is any contradiction between section and the rule, then follow the section. Right. So every foreign company shall in every year make out a balance sheet and profit and loss account in such form, particulars and annexures, and deliver a copy of these documents to the ROC. बोला देखो, you also make accounts as per Schedule 3, but only in respect of Indian business. We are not asking you to make your accounts in Schedule 3 as per the accounts of your foreign business. तुम फॉरेन बिजनेस का जैसे अकाउंट बनाते हो बनाओ, योर फॉरेन बिजनेस तुम जैसे अकाउंट बनाते हो बनाओ. We are not concerned with that. But only with respect of Indian business, we are saying that prepare the financial statements as per Schedule 3. That is quite logical also. That is quite logical also. और बोला सिर्फ इंडियन कंपनीज का जो अकाउंट्स है ना, every foreign company shall prepare financial statements of its Indian business in accordance with Schedule 3 or as near to practical as possible for each financial year. अब यहां पे बोला सिर्फ इंडियन बिजनेस का, सिर्फ इंडियन बिजनेस का जो अकाउंट्स है, सिर्फ इंडियन बिजनेस का जो अकाउंट्स है, दैट यू प्रिपेयर एज पर शेड्यूल 3 एंड दैट यू प्रिपेयर फॉर द फाइनेंशियल ईयर एंड गिव अस ओनली फॉर द इंडियन बिजनेस. योर फॉरेन बिजनेस, whatever you are doing, no problem. You prepare as per calendar year. You prepare as per calendar year. You don't prepare as per Schedule 3 for us. Just inform to the ROC. Just give the copy to the ROC. ROC को बस कॉपी दे देना because you are doing business in India. ROC को बस कॉपी दे देना. फिर what they are saying? बोला oh you have to maintain accounts. No, how to maintain accounts? How to maintain accounts? बोला you do one thing. You give us all the documents that is required to be given in accordance with chapter 9, that is accounts of companies. तो बोला चैप्टर 9 जो अकाउंट्स ऑफ कंपनीज है, उसमें जो जो रिक्वायरमेंट है ना अकाउंट्स ऑफ कंपनीज को लेकर, फॉलो दोस. गिव अस ऑल द डॉक्यूमेंट्स, तो फॉलो दोस. मींस बैलेंस शीट, P&L, कैश फ्लो स्टेटमेंट, एवरीथिंग यू गिव अस. फॉलो द रिक्वायरमेंट गिवन इन चैप्टर नंबर 9. And also submit us the documents relating to the copies of latest consolidated financial statements of the parent foreign company as submitted by it to the prescribed authority or in the country of incorporation under applicable laws applicable there. तो बोला जो इंडियन कंपनी के अकाउंट्स है that you prepare for us as per Schedule 3 and submit us, but also जो तुम्हारे फॉरेन पेरेंट कंपनी ने जो कंसोलिडेटेड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट बनाए, your foreign parent company that must have prepared a consolidated financial statement and submitted it to the foreign government. उसका भी कॉपी हमारे आरओसी को दे दो. उसका भी कॉपी हमारे आरओसी को दे दो, because you are doing the business here, so you just give the copy of that. You just give the copy of that. But for your Indian business, you just prepare it as per Schedule 3. And बाकी जो तुम्हारा consolidated financial statement का information है, that particular thing, what you do is that particular thing you just submit. Then that financial year definition is given, and that exemption of financial year, what we studied in section 2+41, that is given. So you can strike it off also if you want, because if you have already done in definition chapter, or if you want you can just read it. So one example they are giving, ROK Limited is a company incorporated outside India having a place of business in India. ROK Limited is a subsidiary of HOK Limited registered in Australia and required to consolidate its accounts with HOK Limited. Accordingly, if HOK Limited is required to follow financial year other than 31st of March every year, then we have seen in the definition of financial year in the proviso, they can make an application to the central government to follow a different financial year, to follow a different year as financial year. The central government has the power. The central government has the power to direct that the requirement of the clause given above shall not apply to the foreign company. Means CG has just reserved the power that if the CG wants, they can exempt the foreign companies also. It is not that CG has exempted, but CG has reserved the power कि अगर कोई फॉरेन कंपनी सीजी के पास जाता है and if CG wants, CG can exempt the foreign companies also from this requirement. So central government has reserved that power with themselves. that if the CG wants, they can give exemption to the foreign company. बोला जो भी ऊपर डॉक्यूमेंट दिया हुआ है, that if any of the specified documents are not in the English language, or a certified translation you give in the English language. आप जो भी डॉक्यूमेंट्स आरओसी को सबमिट कर रहे हो, if that is not in English language, sorry we don't understand Spanish, sorry we don't understand other languages, we don't understand the Russian language, we don't understand the Persian language, so you please do one thing, certified translated copy of English also you annex. Every foreign company shall send to the registrar, along with the documents required to be delivered by him, a copy of the list in the prescribed form of all places of business established by the company in India, as at that date with reference to the balance sheet, with reference to which the balance sheet is made. तो बोला कि when the foreign company is going to submit all the documents to the ROC, also submit him a copy of list in the prescribed form of all places of business established by the company in India. तो जिस दिन आप फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स बना रहे हो, द डे यू आर प्रिपेयरिंग द फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स, उस दिन का जो एक्टिव प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस है, दैट आल्सो यू सबमिट, because initially when the foreign company came, then it may happen that the place of business is limited, but now when they are submitting the financial statements, that time also whatever the place of business is there, you just inform about it to the ROC. So every foreign company shall file with the registrar along with the financial statements in form FC3 with such fee and a list of places of business established by the foreign company in India as on balance sheet date. So initially when the foreign company came, the foreign company was supposed to file in form FC1 various list of documents. That list of documents also included the place of business, the details of the place of business. Now every year when the foreign company is submitting the financial statement to the ROC, so when the foreign company is submitting financial statement to the ROC, then also you submit a list of all the places of business in India. Now this particular point was not so relevant. Whatever we have done so far, that was not so relevant. What is important is what we are going to do now. Further, every foreign company shall, along with the financial statements required to be filed to ROC, attach the following documents. This is very important. Mark it as important. Why this pen is not working? No charge is there. Okay. Along with according to the Companies Registration of Foreign Companies Rules 2014, mark this as important. Mark this as important. This point number 5, it is given according to the Companies Registration of Foreign Companies Rules 2014. Further, every foreign company shall, along with the financial statement to be filed with the registrar, attach the following documents. So this particular point is important. Again, when this chapter was there in CA final, this particular question they asked a multiple number of times. That along with the financial statements, what are the documents the foreign company has to submit to the ROC? Along with the financial statements, what are the documents the foreign companies have to submit to the ROC? Right. So along with the financial statements that the foreign companies submits to the ROC every year, the foreign company is required to submit the following documents. And the name of the 3 documents are there. The name of 3 documents are there. One is statement of related party transactions. Whatever transactions the foreign company has done with its related party, whatever transactions the foreign company has done with its related party, you provide a statement of that. Right. That is point number 1. Document number 2, statement of repatriation of profits. What do we mean? What do we mean by this? Statement of repatriation of profits. Repatriation means taking the profits out of India. Repatriation means taking the profits out of India. Write down the meaning in bracket. Repatriation means taking the profits out of India. So when we talk about statement of repatriation of profits, you see the foreign company is not of India, right? So definitely that is not going to utilize the profit in India. That will take the money back. That will take the money back. You give us a statement कि इंडिया के बाहर तुमने पैसा कहां भेजा है. It might happen that a company from it seems that a company from US has been incorporated. It seems that a company from US has been incorporated, and then let us say a company from US is incorporated, and practically what is happening is that is a Pakistan based company. That is a Pakistan based company. First of all, उसने क्या किया? It got a company incorporated in US. Showing its identity as a US based company, it started in its business in India. Now it is making a lot of profits in India, and that profit they are sending it back to Pakistan. And Pakistan will be using that money for fighting a war against us. So practically, government wants to know that foreign company अपना पैसा कहां ले जा रहा है, where it is taking back the money. So you also give a statement of repatriation of profits. The first statement of related party transaction, that was also for the same thing, ना, that okay कि आपके जो भी related party हैं, for them with we are doing what your transactions you are doing, we want to know, because it's a फिरंगी company, we don't trust you, we don't know कि you know किसके साथ क्या transaction कर रहे हो. So give us a statement of that. Give us a statement of repatriation of profits, and also give us a statement of transfer of funds. Wherever you are distributing the funds, that includes the declaration of dividend. That you know how you are transferring your funds, how much dividend you are declaring. So that also we want to know. So ROC क्या जानना चाहता है? What the government wants to know, that every foreign company shall file 3 things to the register along with the financial statement. Financial statement का copy तो file करना ही करना है every year, but along with that क्या file करना है? Statement of related party transaction, statement of repatriation of profits, and statement of transfer of funds, including dividend. Now, normally the Indian companies, they have to file their financial statement to the ROC within 30 days of AGM. Normally the financial statements are to be filed to the ROC within 30 days of AGM as per section 137. But in case of foreign companies, what they are saying is all these documents shall be delivered to the ROC. This particular documents. We are not talking about financial statements, right? Financial statements तो जैसे फाइल करना है as per section 9, as per chapter 9. Financial statements are to be filed as per chapter 9 only. Financial statements are to be filed as per chapter 9 only. But we understand that making these statements will take some time. This particularly making this kind of statements, that is, you know, statement of related party transactions, statement of repatriation of funds, statement of transfer of funds, this will take some time. So we understand that it may take some time. So that is why what they are saying is all these documents shall be filed to the ROC within a period of 6 months of the close of the financial year of the foreign company to which the documents relates. So these documents will be delivered to the ROC within a period of 6 months of the close of financial year of the foreign company to which the documents relates. To which the documents relates. All these documents shall be delivered to the ROC within a period of 6 months of the close of financial year of the foreign company. And again in proviso they have given that ROC may also extend this 6 months. ROC may also extend this 6 months, but maximum for 3 months. If the foreign company is making a request that we need some more time to submit the statement of repatriation of funds, we need some more time to submit the statement of related party transaction, then the registrar may for any special reason extend the time by a period not exceeding 3 months. But application must be made in writing to the registrar by the foreign company. Foreign company phone करके registrar को बोलेगा, oh listen registrar, that statement of repatriation of funds will take some time, please give us more time. Then the ROC will say, थोड़ा इज्जत दो, give a application in writing. You give us a application in writing, we may extend the time but not exceeding 3 months. So these are the provisions relating to accounts. These are the provisions relating to accounts. नाउ द प्रोविजंस पर्टेनिंग टू ऑडिट. बोल अच्छा ऑडिट भी तो कराना है. वी फॉरगॉट. ओके ऑडिट भी तो कराना है. These foreign companies are doing business in India. They are preparing their accounts of the Indian business. They are preparing the accounts as per schedule 3 only. So इनको audit भी तो कराना है. Who will do the audit? Chartered accountant, individual chartered accountant, or a firm of chartered accountant, or a limited liability partnership firm of chartered accountants. So well, for the audit, what you do is we have made a chapter known as chapter number 11, chapter number 10. For audit, we have made a chapter known as chapter number 10. In that, various audit provisions we have given. Who will be the auditor? What will be the qualification of auditor? What will be the disqualification of auditor? What will be the right of auditor? What will be the duties of auditor? So you do one thing for audit, you follow that chapter 10. So that is why I said now that earlier they said that okay, only the provisions of this particular chapter will be applicable. That also, selective sections. Then they said that oh, accounts also you have to prepare. Follow chapter number 9 also. Oh, audit also you have to do. Follow chapter number 10 also. Later on you see, oh, share also you want to issue. IP also. Follow the prospectus chapter also. Oh, inspection may also be done. So follow the chapter of inspection inquiry also. Right. Section 382 is nothing but a copy paste of what we did in section 12. Copy paste of what we did in section 12. Section 12 registered office. Section 12 registered office. You remember there was a requirement with respect to registered office that outside every place of business, outside every place of business जहां भी तुम business कर रहे हो, you will write the name of the company. You will write the name of the company. You will write the address of the company, the registered address of the company. And you will write that in legible letters. You will write that in English letters and one local language. Right. And also in all your business letters, in your letterheads, in your signboards, you will write the name of the company. Remember na, that requirement we studied? The same thing is given here. The same thing is given here. Now, it is very logical. Foreign company अपने प्लेस ऑफ बिजनेस के बाहर आउटसाइड एवरी ऑफिस, आउटसाइड एवरी ब्रांच ऑफिस, फॉरेन कंपनी क्या डालेगा? नाउ फॉर फॉरेन कंपनी, एवरी फॉरेन कंपनी शैल एक्सिबिट ऑन द आउटसाइड ऑफ एवरी ऑफिस और प्लेस वेयर इट कैरीज ऑन बिजनेस इन इंडिया द नेम ऑफ द कंपनी एंड द कंट्री इन विच इट इज इनकॉर्पोरेटेड. बिकॉज एक लॉजिकली जब इंडियन कंपनी है, फॉर देम वी वर आस्किंग दैट यू टेल द रजिस्टर्ड ऑफिस एड्रेस. वी नो इट्स इंडियन कंपनी, बट फॉर दिस पर्टिकुलर कंपनीज देयर मेन आइडेंटिफिकेशन इज दैट ये कौन सी कंपनी, कौन से देश की है. सो दैट इज व्हाई यू ऑलवेज सी दैट इन केस ऑफ एवरी फॉरेन कंपनी यू सी वेयर एवर एनी ब्रांच इज देयर, एनी समथिंग इज देयर, the name of the company will be written and the country of incorporation will also be written, and you will see and tell, oh, US का company है, oh, it's an England based company. So that the company is not doing just to show their brand, that the company is doing because that is the requirement of the Companies Act. Right. For example, let us say now Modi government says, now there was an agenda in between, ban all the Chinese goods, don't buy anything from China. So now if you are seeing any kind of place in any kind of board, if you are seeing in any kind of stationery that okay, it's a Chinese based company, then only you will know na it's a Chinese based company. So that thing must be there. So every foreign company must clearly exhibit, conspicuously exhibit, that is clearly exhibit on the outside of every place or office where it carries on business in India, the name of the company and the country in which it is incorporated. Underline the name of the company and the country in which it is incorporated. Name of the company and the country in which it is incorporated. In letters, easily legible in English characters. In letters, easily legible in English characters, and also using the language of the general locality also. जो भी local language है. In which the office is situated. Let us say office is situated in Karnataka. Then in that situation the local language of Karnataka, in the local language of Karnataka it will be written, and in English language it will be written. Cause the name of the company and country in which it is incorporated. Again, the name of the company, the country name. It must be given in English character in all business letters, letterheads, signboards, all the stationery of the company. But logically speaking, now कोई business letter होगा, offer letter होगा, signboard होगा, in that how local language will be there? It does not make sense. It does not make sense. So there in English language, if you write, that is sufficient. There in English language, if you write, it is sufficient. And also foreign companies should display, the nature of liability of their members. The foreign companies should display the nature of liability of their members. So basically क्या होगा, जो भी बाहर बोर्ड लगा होगा, the foreign company is carrying on the business, जो भी उनके वहां बाहर बोर्ड लगा होगा, उनके बोर्ड में 3 चीजें लिखी होंगी. There will be 3 things written. One, it will be written is name of the company. Another, it will be written is country of incorporation, right? Country of incorporation. And third, it will be written is liability of the members. Third, it will be written is liability of the members. So outside every place, outside every office or place where it carries on business, 3 things the foreign company will mention in the board: the name, the country of incorporation, the liability. The name, the country of incorporation, the liability. So what they are saying now, if the liability of the member of the company is limited, cause notice of that fact to be stated in every prospectus it is issuing, in all its business letters, in all its advertisements, in all its official publications, in English letters. So prospectus में भी लिखा होगा that liability of our members is limited. In all its business letters, it will be written that liability of our members is limited. In all the letterheads, it will be written liability of our member is limited. In all the notices, it will be written liability of our members will be limited. And also it will be written to be conspicuously exhibited on the outside of every office or place where it carries on business. Again in English characters and the local language. So in 2 parts they have given. पहले उन्होंने बोला जो भी आउटसाइड ऑफ, जो भी प्लेस तुम्हारा बाहर है, वेयर एवर यू आर कैरिंग ऑन बिजनेस, wherever you are carrying on business, then outside the place of your business, first they told that display the name of the company and the country of incorporation. Then they are again saying that your liability of the company also you include it outside the place. So ultimately what's the crux? That outside every office or place of business or in every kind of business letter, letterhead, notices, company is required to disclose 3 things: name of the company, country of incorporation, and the fact that the liability of their members is limited. And the fact that the liability of their members is limited. So very simple requirement. These 3 things you are required to disclose. I'll give the break myself only. I know that now whatever I'm doing is not technical at all, very simple. So just now I'll be giving the break. Don't worry. 2 sections, one line. I'll be giving the break. Service on foreign company. Service on documents, we had the section for Indian companies. That was section number 20. Similarly, we have service on foreign company. Similarly, we have service on foreign companies, section 383. Section 383. So now, same concept here also. Same concept here also, but वहां लंबा चौड़ा था, यहाँ एक लाइन है. Any process, notice, or other document. Just a second. Yeah. Any process, notice or any document. Any process means maybe government has, introduced some kind of process for the foreign companies or something like that. So any process, notice or other document required to be served on a foreign company. अब किसको भेजेंगे? Logically सोचो. Any member has to give some notice to the foreign company. Any document is to be served to the foreign company. Then foreign company को कहाँ भेजेंगे? You remember foreign company ने at the time of coming to India in section 380. Foreign company gave the details of a authorized representative to the registrar, that he is the person authorized to receive all our documents. तो कौन सा बंदा authorized होगा to receive all the documents? His name and address the foreign company had intimated to the ROC. रिमेंबर ना इन सेक्शन 380, तो नोटिस उसी आदमी को सर्व होगा, इन दैट एड्रेस सर्व होगा. Any process, notice or other document required to be served on a foreign company shall be deemed to be sufficiently served if addressed to any person whose name and address has been delivered to the registrar under section 380. तो फॉरेन कंपनी ने जिसका भी नाम रजिस्ट्रार को बताया था इन सेक्शन 380 that he is the authorized representative, we are authorizing him to receive any documents on our behalf. तो सेक्शन 383 says कोई भी नोटिस, कोई भी डॉक्यूमेंट उसी को भेजा जाएगा. राइट और कैसे भेजा जाएगा? सेम वे, यू कैन सेंड बाय पोस्ट, यू कैन सेंड बाय पोस्ट, और यू कैन सेंड बाय इलेक्ट्रॉनिक मीन्स, you can send by post, or you can send by electronic means, or you can deliver at the doors. Right, you can send by post, or you can send by electronic means, or you can deliver at the doors. So in same way you can send. So one line ka section hai. Now you see this particular section 384, right, 384 कुछ भी नहीं है. बोला oh you want to issue debentures, you want to issue debentures, okay. So for issue of debentures now we have one section, section 71 in Companies Act. Please follow that. Bola, oh you have to prepare annual returns also, no? You have to follow annual returns also. You will have to file annual returns to the ROC also. Follow section 92. Oh you are doing business in India, no? So the section of corporate social responsibility may be applicable to you also. You might also have to do some charity if you are doing business in India. So if the section of corporate social responsibility is applicable on you now, follow section 135. Huh? You do one thing, please follow section 135. Right. Similarly, oh you want to maintain books of accounts also, no? You have to keep the book, maintain books of accounts also. Then in that situation, the provision of books of accounts will also be applicable. Follow the provision of books of accounts, huh? Follow the section of books of accounts, section 128. Follow the requirements given in the books of accounts, section 128. Right. Then what happens is, whenever the Indian company create any charge on its property, whenever the Indian company creates any charge on its property, it has to inform to the ROC. Whenever the Indian company creates any charge on its property, it has to inform to the ROC. There is a chapter for that. We'll study later. Registration of charges. So whenever an Indian company takes any loan or something like that, and they are creating any charge on its assets, so in that situation, they will also have to inform the ROC about it. There is a chapter for that. Registration of charges. So oh, you also want to register, you also want to create charge on your property, then you will also have to inform to the ROC. Then that chapter, registration of charges chapter, will also be applicable to you. Huh? Oh, you are doing some garbar. You are doing something wrong in your business. Then ROC will also have the power to inquire, investigate. Central government will also have the power to inquire, investigate. So the chapter of inspection, inquiry, investigation will also be applicable to you. Huh? So what they are saying, oh, you want to issue debentures? Don't worry, follow section 71. For making the annual returns or filing the annual returns, follow section 92. If CSR is applicable to you, follow section 135. For maintaining books of accounts, follow section 128. If you are creating any charges on your property, follow registration of charges chapter. And we can also do, government can also inspect the books of accounts. ROC can also inspect your books of accounts. Government can also do investigation. You cannot say I am a foreign company, please don't investigate me. So the chapter of inspection, inquiry, investigation will also be applicable. But regarding the filing of annual returns, in this particular scenario, there is one slight change. Regarding the time of filing. So that we are clarifying. Normally annual return, the company is required to file within 60 days of the last day of AGM. Here they have given one small change. Every foreign company shall prepare and file an annual return along with the prescribed fee within a period of 60 days from the last day of financial year. So this small change is there. This small change is there. And in the next section what they have said, section 385 bola, before you register any document to the ROC, now give him some fees. Before you register any document with the ROC, give him some fees. बिना फीस के कुछ नहीं होता इंडिया में. So before you register any document to the ROC, you pay him the fees. And the fees will be given in the chapter. The fees will be given in the rules, how much fees to pay. The fees will be given in the rules, how much fees to pay. For that we have a company's registration rules. So the section 385 says fee for registration of documents. बोला फी किसको देना है? रजिस्ट्रार को देना है. This fee shall be paid to the registrar for registering any document required by the provisions of this chapter. To be registered by him, such fee as may be prescribed. To be registered by him, such fees as may be prescribed. Right? कि आपको क्या करना है? कुछ फीस पे करना है. And finally, the last section, because one line का है, then we are taking break. हाँ, क्या बोल रहे हो? आवाज नहीं आ रही. Okay, we'll be doing after the break. चलो. Okay, so come back everyone. Come back everyone. Come back everyone. Pin drop silence now. Everyone be silent now. Everyone please be silent now. Please stop talking. जिसको बात करना है, please go outside and talk. Now you see, the last section that we were discussing was section 384. That is the various provisions of debentures, annual returns, registration of charges, books of accounts, the inspection. That is applicable to foreign companies also. And their respective chapters and their respective sections are going to be applicable. Now, here if you see, there is one word that is used. Here is one word that is used in the last point. In the last 2 points, there is one word if you use, you see if they have used. The provisions of chapter 6, that is the registration of charges, shall apply mutatis mutandis. Mutatis mutandis to charges on properties. Same word they have used in the last line also. The provisions of chapter number 14, that is inspection, inquiry, investigation, shall apply mutatis mutandis to an Indian business of foreign company. So what do we mean by the expression mutatis mutandis? What do we mean by the expression? So you do mutatis mutandis, that is the basic term of law. In the basic chapter where we discuss the various definitional part now, the meaning of various terms, there itself you can write the meaning of mutatis mutandis. The meaning of mutatis mutandis. So mutatis mutandis means applicable in the same manner. Applicable in the same manner with or without modification. Applicable in the same manner with or without modification. So when we talk about mutatis mutandis, it means applicable in the same manner with or without modification. So when they use the word mutatis mutandis, it means it is going to be applicable in the same manner here also. It is going to be applicable in the same manner here also. For that, the word they use is mutatis mutandis. Now, if you ask me, sir, why they have used the word mutatis mutandis, why not anything else? Then it is just like why they have kept the name of Shaktiman as, Gangadhar, Vidyadhar, Mayadhar, Shastri. So it is up to them, right? Whatever name they can keep. So mutatis mutandis. They have used the expression mutatis mutandis, that is applicable in the same manner. Okay. And section 385 we have, that is the simple, that the fees that shall be paid to the ROC. So once you can help me summarizing the sections. मुझे actually भूलने की बीमारी है. I forget things very fast. So once you help me remember क्या क्या था. Section 379 क्या था? Applicability of the act. Applicability of the act. What was 380? Documents to the ROC. What was 381? Account. 382 display of name. 383 service of notice. 383 service of notice. 380 documents. 381 is accounts. 380 documents. 381 accounts. 379 applicability of the act. 382 display of name. 383 service of notice. 383 that was service of notice. And 384 was applicability of other provisions. 384 is applicability of other provisions, right? And then we have 385 is the fee for registration. Even if you don't remember all the sections, it's fine that at least you remember that section 379, 380, 381. 379, 380, 381. 379 is the applicability of the act, 380 is the documents, 381 is the accounts. Now 386 is nothing. This section only gives the meaning of three terms used in the chapter. This particular section is the section of interpretation. You see the name of the section itself is interpretation. They have just clarified the meaning of three terms used in the chapter. Like we see the word certified. In section 3 also they used. Certified copy of charter will be given. Certified copy of MOA will be given. Certified translated copy will be given. So what is the meaning of word certified? What is the word meaning of director in this chapter? And what is the meaning of place of business in this chapter? They have just given these three meanings in section 386. Nothing else. The word certified. Certified means it's a true and correct copy. Certified means it's true and correct. Certified means it's a true and correct copy. It's not a Xerox. It's a certified copy. It's a true and correct copy. So if it's certified, so some authorized officer will be certifying it. Yeah, some professional authority will be certifying it. Like for example, somewhere when you apply for admissions and all, they say that okay, you do one thing, get your mark sheet notified by a notary, and then you submit us. Why they say you that get your mark sheet notified by a notary? Because once your notary notifies it, it is treated as certified, that it is true and correct. If that notary is not doing, then they might think that you must have done you have used some Photoshop tools, and किसी और के mark sheet में you have just changed your name. But once you have got that notarized, that means it is certified. So similarly, the word certified here means true or correct translation. That particularly they say that the certified copy of translation you submit. So we don't know, there is a big risk that foreign company, the account they are submitting, the charter they are submitting, that's a certified copy, that is a translated copy. From their language, they are translating into English language, and then they are submitting the translated version to the ROC. So that has to be certified. Certify kaun karega? That you don't need. Particularly that certification for that it is given that it should be an advocate, a senior advocate, or that professional, it should be a notary officer. So wahan pe that criteria they have given. Then who is a director? Director kaun hoga? Well, a director means anyone. Director means anyone in accordance with whose instructions or instructions the BOD is accustomed to act. बोला board of directions, board of directors जिसके instructions को मानेगा वो director. Any person whose instructions the board of directors will follow is called a director here. And the place of business, when we talk about a place of business, they have clarified. Now this is a very important point. Place of business, mark this as important. Place of business includes a share transfer office also, or a registration office also. Place of business includes a share transfer office also, or registration office also. Earlier we discussed that the place of business not only includes a physical place of business, but also it includes if the business is carried out through agents, and also it includes the business in electronic mode. Now in section 386 they are further clarifying that place of business, it also includes a share transfer office or registration office. What does it mean? So now this concept is not so relevant. But पहले क्या होता था practically? Nowadays, when you have to transfer the share and all, you just do it online. But earlier, what used to happen is there used to be a physical office, a share transfer office. You used to go in that office and get your share registered. You used to go in that office and get your share transferred. So that is known as the share transfer or registration office. So sometimes what the foreign companies used to do is they don't carry out business in India. They don't carry out business in India, but they simply set up a share transfer office or registration office. That you people, the Indians, can subscribe for our shares, and this is our share transfer office. You can come and you can get your shares transferred from here. So they have clarified that even if the foreign company includes only a share transfer office in India, that will be regarded as the place of business. So in exam, if they ask you that the foreign company is not carrying out any business in India, but they are having a share transfer office in India, even that will be regarded as the share transfer office. So you do one thing, that will be regarded as the place of business. So you do one thing in section 2, clause 42. In section 2, clause 42, when the definition was given, as a place of business in India, whether by itself or through agent or electronic mode, here in bracket you write, as per section 386, place of business also includes a share transfer or share registration office. Here only in bracket you write, as per section 386, place of business in India also includes a share transfer or share registration office. That as per section 386, place of business in India also includes a share transfer or also includes a share registration office. Huh? Yeah, share transfer or share registration office. That concept only I explained. You were there. Yeah. That particularly earlier what used to happen is that nowadays you do the share transfer, share registration online only nowadays. But earlier what the companies used to do is they also set up physical offices. Pehle concept of online was not so popular. So that was, they set up physical places also, physical offices also. So you used to go in a physical office and you used to register the share in your name, or you used to transfer the share. So if the company has set up only the office for that particular purpose, it's a share transfer or share registration office in India, that will also be regarded as a place of business in India. It's not that practically क्या होता था कि yeah, earlier only physical share certificates were issued. That time the share transfer office used to be there. Nowadays online the things are done, but still what happens is that जो share transfer office वगैरह बना था, most of them have been abolished or some of them even exist, even though they are not so functional now. So law में लिखा हुआ है that if the companies have set up a share transfer office or a share registration office, that is also regarded as the place of business. Then section 387, mark this also important, section 387. So basically section 387 to 389, these are the provisions regarding prospectus, that when a foreign company issues the prospectus, then the provisions pertaining to the chapter of prospectus will also be applicable to them, and also some additional requirements will be applicable to them. So what are the requirements pertaining to prospectus that will be applicable to them? That will anyways see in the prospectus chapter, right? So now some basic requirements, that whenever foreign companies issues a prospectus, that prospectus should be dated, that prospectus should be signed. whenever the foreign company issues a prospectus, the prospectus should be dated, the prospectus will be signed. Unless the prospectus is properly dated and unless the prospectus is properly signed, prospectus will not be issued. So very basic requirement. No person shall issue, circulate or distribute in India any prospectus offering to subscribe for securities of a company incorporated or to be incorporated outside India, whether the company has or not established or when formed or will not establish a place of business in India, unless the prospectus is dated and signed. It's not that only those companies which are coming and doing business in India can issue the shares, can invite application, can invite the public to subscribe for the shares. Even those companies, even the body corporates who are not doing business in India, even they can also invite the general public, to subscribe for the shares, to subscribe for the securities. That's not a problem. But no person shall issue or circulate or distribute in India any prospectus unless it is properly dated and unless it is properly signed. And along in the prospectus, what happens is that, what is prospectus? Prospectus is a document that will consist all the important details of the company and that will contain about all the important details of the issue the company is planning to make. So basically what is prospectus? Prospectus is a document jahan company apne bare mein bhi sab kuch batayega, and the issue the company is planning to make, the IPO the company has issued, company will also tell everything about that IPO, that where we are going to use the money, in what the money will be utilized, how much money we are earning, how much money we are expecting to earn. Everything the company informs in the prospectus. Company also gives all the details about itself in the prospectus. Who are our directors, what is our financial position, how our past financial position has been. So on the basis of prospectus, the members of the general public can decide whether we want to subscribe for the securities or not. So here also the prospectus must contain important particulars. The prospectus of a foreign company must contain important details. Now what are the details the prospectus of a foreign company must consist of? It is divided into two parts. Number one, all the details that normally an Indian company will give in its prospectus, that a foreign company will also give. All the details that an Indian company will give in its prospectus, that a foreign company will also give. So for the Indian companies, we have section 26. For the Indian companies, we have section 26 of Companies Act, where contents of the prospectus is given. So foreign companies simply needs to incorporate in its prospectus two things. Foreign companies simply needs to incorporate in its prospectus two things. Two things to be included in foreign company prospectus. Number one, matters of section 26. Matters of section 26. Matters of section 26 means basically whatever the Indian company discloses in its prospectus. Whatever the Indian company discloses in its prospectus. That is the Indian company prospectus details. That is the Indian company prospectus details. कि जो Indian company जब IPO लेके आता है, जब Indian company FPO लेकर आता है, तो whenever the Indian company comes out with an IPO, whenever the Indian company comes out with an FPO, the details they include in their prospectus, the same details the foreign company will also have to include. Number two, additional details. Additional details means जो Indian companies को include नहीं करना होता. Only the foreign companies will have to include in their prospectus. Now that is very logical. For example, what will be the additional details out there? The instrument constituting or defining the constitution of the country. For example, our company is registered under Companies Act 2013. In our country, the companies are either registered under Companies Act 2013 or maybe Companies Act 1956 or maybe Companies Act 1913, but maybe that is a UK based company and maybe the company is constituted under some UK law. The company is constituted under the UK Companies Act 1950, for example. So in that situation, in the prospectus, the company will write what is our constitution, that we are set up under the UK Act or we are set up under the US Act. So that is something the company will define. Because when the shareholders are going to invest, when the public is going to invest in the prospectus, they must get that information now, that kaun se country ka company hai, in which act the company is constituted, what is the main instrument of the company, what is the main document of the company, what is the main charter of the company. So that is something the company will have to include in its prospectus. The instrument constituting or defining the constitution, that means the main document, the main charter. Second, the provision under which the incorporation of the companies was affected, UK Act, US Act. Third, address in India. Address in India. इंडिया में कहां बिजनेस हो रहा है, इंडिया में कहां बिजनेस हो रहा है, एड्रेस इन इंडिया, right? So address in India also needs to be disclosed. And also, if that particular instrument, if that particular enactment that is in foreign language, certified translation copy that goes to the ROC. Members also want to see. Members also want to see. So that will also be included in the prospectus, right? So I think this is the same detail. This is nothing new. These are the same details that the foreign company was also informing to the ROC. The same documents the already foreign company was informing to the ROC also. That कौन सा हमारा main institute document है defining us, under which legislation we are set up, what is our address in India, certified copy containing the translation. So those things the company was informing the ROC also. Then the place of business in India. The company will also inform in the prospectus whether we have any place of business in India, or we are just having a share registration office, or we are carrying the business out in electronic mode. So that is also something the company will include in its prospectus. And the most important, the date, mark the date on which and the country in which the company was incorporated. Country तो बताओगे, समझ में आता है कि we were incorporated, we are a Japanese based company, we are a Afghanistani based company, we are a Pakistani based company. You know, you will say that there is a lot of love from Pakistan. It is a Russian based company, but it will also include the date. It will also include the date that our company was incorporated on 13th of January 1915 US. So they will also mention the date. Normally what we think is, normally we always tend to think about the year. But here they are saying also define the date. कौन से date को तुम्हारा company बना था. So all these details will go in the prospectus. All these details will go in the prospectus. So very simple. The prospectus of a foreign company will consist of two details. The prospectus of a foreign company will consist of two details. What are the two details the prospectus of a foreign company will consist of? Matters to be included in the Indian company prospectus, section 26, and additional details. In additional details, if we talk about in status detail, additional details, if we talk about the main instrument defining the company, then the legislation under which the company is set up, then the address in India, certified translated copy of the main instrument, certified translated copy of the main instrument, the main document, the date on which the company is set up, the date on which the company was incorporated, the country in which the company is incorporated, and again whether we have a place of business in India or not. And if we have a place of business in India, what is the address? And last point, what they have given, state the matters specified under section 26. That is matters to be included in the prospectus. Now you see, what is the logic? What is the logic of including point number 1, 2, and 3? Think very logically and tell what is the logic of including this point number 1, 2, and 3. That give about the instrument, give about under which provision you are set up, certified copy of translation. So basically, what is the logic behind setting up these points? The new company is that the logic is that there is a risk that a new foreign company, and mainly this risk is for new foreign companies, not the old foreign companies who are working. There is a risk that a new foreign company is made, that a new foreign company has come into India, only with the intention to take the money, and they will take the money and run away. They will take the money and run away. So the basic intention of including these details is that a new foreign company can come and a new foreign company can loot the people of India. So basically this particular disclosures are for new companies. So what they have clarified is, provided that points 1, 2 and 3, provided that points 1, 2 and 3 of point A shall not apply in case of prospectus issued more than 2 years after the date at which company is entitled to commence business. That company जब business commence कर रहा है, if after 2 years the company is issuing prospectus, means company is a old company. Means company is a old company. In that particular situation, it is totally fine. Company will not be required to submit these details about the instrument, about the enactment, the certified translation copy. So company will not be required to submit these details if it's a 2 years old company. If after commencing its business, at least after 2 years, the company is issuing the prospectus. Basically, what the lawmaker felt is that the lawmaker felt, see, you might feel something different. I may feel something different. Our thinking might always not meet with the thinking of lawmaker. Now my thinking will be that क्या फर्क पड़ता है, पुराना कंपनी को भी सबमिट करने दो डिटेल्स. But the lawmaker felt that no, already these companies have submitted the same details to the ROC. The ROC has already verified that. So if it's an old company, already 2 years they have commenced the business, they don't need to inform in the prospectus again. But if it's a new company, the general public should know about it, that it's a new company. Then they should know all these things. So provided that points 1, 2 and 3 of point A shall not apply in case of prospectus issued more than 2 years after the date at which the company is entitled to commence business. They have given one example also. Mir Company LLC, a company incorporated in Dubai on 28th April 2017. Mir Company LLC has established a place of business in India in Mumbai for the year 2020. Now the place of business in India proposes to offer subscription to securities of Mir Company LLC. Now the place of business in India, before going on with the subscription, will have to file a prospectus dated and signed. And the prospectus, will the prospectus be required to give the particulars given in point 1 to 3? No, because it's a 2 years old company. Business commence हुए 2 साल से ज्यादा हो चुका है. It's a 2 years old company, and so the company is not required to give the following details in the prospectus. But let us say in the same example, suppose if the company was incorporated on 28th April 2019. In the same example, let us say if the company was incorporated on 28th April 2019, then the prospectus should contain the particulars given in subsection 1, 2 and 3. So you just write here only in example 6. In the same example, if company was incorporated on 28th April 2019, in the same example, if the company was incorporated on 28th April 2019, prospectus will have to contain the particulars. Prospectus will have to contain the particulars. So I advise you, see, normally I don't say that you have to learn subsection numbers. Normally I don't say. But here in this particular case, section 387, subsection 1, if you remember this particular subsection, it's better. Acha, third point, what they are trying to say, you see, so basically, let us summarize it again and let me give you some more clarity also. So, section 387, whenever the foreign company issues a prospectus, it should be properly dated, it should be properly signed, it should be submitted to the ROC. Only after then the prospectus can be issued to the general public. Clear? The prospectus of the company issued by a foreign company under subsection 1 should consist of the following details. Number 1, mainly the matters to be given in the prospectus of an Indian company under section 26. And then additional details, additional particulars. What are the additional particulars? What are the additional particulars? First of all, the instrument constituting or defining the constitution, means the charter of the company. The main instrument that is constituting or defining the constitution of the company. That is the main charter of the company. Secondly, the enactment or provisions under which the incorporation of the company was effected. So, under whichever provision the incorporation of the company was done. Under whichever act the incorporation of company was done. Thirdly, what they have to do is, see, thirdly, what they have to do is, they have to, now ये जो particular point I just told you, certified translation copy, they have to inform the address in India कि जो भी main instrument है, whatever the main instrument is, whatever the main enactment is, उसका कॉपी कहां मिलेगा, कौन से एड्रेस में मिलेगा इन इंडिया. जो भी वो मेन एड्रेस है, जो भी मेन डॉक्यूमेंट है, मेन इनएक्टमेंट है, मेन इंस्ट्रूमेंट, यू नो, उसका कॉपी कहां मिलेगा इन इंडिया फॉर इंस्पेक्शन, वेयर मेंबर्स कैन गो and inspect the main charter. That details we have to give. Where the members can go and inspect the main charter. And if that is not available in the, and if that is not in English language, the translated copy. ये तीन फालतू का डिटेल्स है, ये तीन फालतू का डिटेल्स है, and these three फालतू details are only for a नई नवेली foreign company. These three फालतू का details are only for a नई नवेली foreign company. You know, when a new dulhan comes in your house, फालतू का new restrictions are imposed in our society. फालतू का new restrictions. So this is a new Naveli Dulhan, new Naveli foreign company. So फालतू का new restrictions, 3 disclosures they have pushed. That you need to disclose about the instrument constituting or defining the company. You need to disclose about the enactment. You need to disclose about the address where the instrument can be found. You can just remember it as IEA. IEA. That new foreign company, the new company. After commencing the business, अगर 2 साल नहीं हुआ है, after commencing the business अगर 2 साल नहीं हुआ है, in the prospectus they will have to disclose IEA, because you will not remember the subsection numbers, right? So what you remember, that after after commencing the business, अगर foreign company को 2 साल नहीं हुआ है, in the prospectus they are required to disclose IEA. And if after commencing the business foreign company को 2 साल हो गया है, they are not required to disclose IEA. What is IEA? Instrument, enactment, address in India where the enactment can be found. Instrument, enactment, address in India where the instrument can be found. Instrument, please repeat with me. Instrument, enactment, address in India where the instrument can be found. Please repeat with me. Instrument, enactment, address in India where the instrument can be found. Instrument, enactment, address in India where the instrument or enactment can be found. Instrument, enactment, and the address in India where the main enactment can be found. Yeah. And if it is not available in English language, then a certified copy. Now, here IEA, this IEA, who has to disclose? Only those foreign companies जिसको business commence किए हुए 2 साल नहीं हुआ. But if already 2 years have passed after the commencement, they are not disclosed to report IEA. So basically, companies who have issued prospectus after 2 years of incorporation are not required to disclose IEA in their prospectus. If I make it very, very simple for you, then companies who issue prospectus after 2 years of commencement, after 2 years of commencement of business, after 2 years of commencement of business, right, after 2 years of commencement of business, not required to disclose IEA in prospectus. And अगर 2 साल नहीं हुआ है तो they are required to disclose IEA in their prospectus. And apart from that, principal place of business in India, principal place of business in India, and date on which the countries date on which and the country in which the company will be incorporated. कौन से डेट में कंपनी इनकॉर्पोरेट हुआ, कौन से कंट्री में कंपनी इनकॉर्पोरेट हुआ. नाउ टेल मी दिस 2 डिटेल्स, द डेट, the name of the country, the place of business. The date, the name of the country, the place of business. Now this every foreign company has to include in the prospectus. The 2 years old one also, the 2 years after one also. For new Naveli Dushan, some extra restrictions are there, faltu ones. But there are few restrictions that will be applicable for everyone. For old or for new. For old or for new. So simply speaking, see, if institute asks the questions from there, from this particular point, there are chances that 90% of you will go wrong. So we are just trying to simplify it a bit. Matters to be included in prospectus of a foreign company. Matters to be included in the prospectus of a foreign company. How will you remember? One is section 26 details. That is the normal Indian company details, right? And another is, how you remember, you see, IEA DP. IEA DP. IEA DP. You are saying to Deepika Padikone, IEA DP. So basically your company is inviting a prospectus. Your company is inviting a prospectus, and the first invitation of your prospectus you have given to Deepika Padikone. And you are saying to Deepika Padikone, IEA Deepika Padikone. You know, IEA Deepika Padikone. So IEA DP. IEA DP. IEA DP. Now, डीपी किसको चाहिए? दीपिका पादुकोण किसको चाहिए? एवरीवन, ओल्ड न्यू एवरीवन. डीपी everyone wants, right? So this disclosure of DP, that is date and date, name of country, date and name of country and place of business. Date and name of country or place of business. Date and name of country and place of business. So this disclosure everyone is required to give. This disclosure every foreign company is required to give. This disclosure every foreign company is required to give. Old, new, कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता. This disclosure every foreign company is required to give. Deepika Padukone everyone wants, right? But IEA, this is only for companies that is 2 years have not lapsed from commencement of business. Two years have not lapsed from commencement of business, right? 2 years have not lapsed from commencement of business. Baki, if 2 years have lapsed, so IEA we don't want. So what was IEA? Yeah, instrument. E for enactment. Yeah, A for address. So matters to be included in the prospectus of a foreign company. IEA Deepika Padukone. IEA DP. IEA only for new companies. Not for companies जिसको business commence में 2 years से ज्यादा हो गया है. And DP for everyone. To where? Yeah. Below IE only for companies. मैंने उल्टा लैंग्वेज लिखा है ना. Only for companies 2 years have not left from the commencement of business. What I've written, it is this disclosure is required only for companies जिनको 2 साल पार नहीं हुआ. 2 years have not left from the commencement of business. If after 2 years they are not required to disclose IEA. After 2 years they are not required to disclose IEA. After 2 years, no requirement to disclose IEA. But even after 2 years, they are required to disclose DP. Even after 2 years, they are required to disclose IEA. But DP is always required. So now suppose in exam, first you note it down, then be clarified. This formula I have made now only, huh? It was instant only. I didn't made it from before. Where? Okay. That is bad. That means bad. Yeah. Now let me ask you one question. Let me ask you one question. A company, foreign company basically, incorporated in Singapore on 1st of April 2024. A company incorporated in Singapore in 1st of April 2024. Company sets up its place of business in India, let us say on 2027. Company sets up its business in India on 2027. I'm just taking futuristic examples, assuming that the law will be the same. Company sets up its place of business in India on 2027. Or you can do one thing, why to make the things complicated, you can just keep it 2020 and 2023. Yeah. So a company incorporated in Singapore on 1st of April 2020, company sets up its place of business in India on 2023. Company wants to offer shares to public. Company wants to offer shares to public. And therefore issue prospectus. Therefore issued prospectus. Company hires Mr. Ram, a chartered accountant, as his legal professional. Company hires Mr. Ram, a chartered accountant, as his legal professional. Please note the question simultaneously. Right. Mr. Ram, a chartered accountant, as his legal professional, and asks his advice whether the following matters are to be disclosed in prospectus. Whether the following matters are to be disclosed in prospectus. Again, this is a self-drafted question. In institute question, you will not see such kind of questions. So a company incorporated in Singapore on 1st of April 2020. Company sets up its place of business in India on 2023. Company wants to offer shares to public and therefore issued prospectus. Company hires Mr. Ram, a chartered accountant, as his legal professional, and asks his advice whether the following matters are to be disclosed in the prospectus. Now let us say he is asking on the following matters. Should I disclose this or not? First, he is asking his advice on the instrument. On the instrument. Defining constitution of company. Instrument defining constitution of company. Second, he is asking your advice. Secondly, he is asking your advice on the provision under which company is incorporated. Provision under which company is incorporated. Thirdly, the company is asking its advice, let us say, on the date and place of incorporation. Regarding the date and place of incorporation. And fourth is regarding the address of place of business in India. The address of place of business in India. The address of place of business in India. So which disclosure is to be given, where disclosure is not to be given? Instrument defining Constitution of India. Disclosure needed or no needed? Not needed, because this is IEA and 2 years have passed. So not needed, because 2 years have passed. Provision under which company is incorporated. Not needed, because again this is a IEA, that is enactment under which the Companies Act is passed, and already 2 years has passed.
No.
Anyway, date and place of incorporation. Date and place of incorporation. Yes, disclosure is needed. DP disclosure always needed. Address of place of business in India needed. Address of the enactment not needed. DP place of business information needed. Just you are seeing the word address and you got confused. But in the same question, if 2 years had not passed after commencement, then even the first two disclosures would have been required. Then even the first two disclosures were needed. Yeah. So it is very clear now. This is the only technical section in prospectus, this foreign company chapter. Otherwise, every section is very simple. Starting, so you did not note it down. I told to note down simultaneously with me. And today we'll be not only completing foreign companies, but also we will be revising all the 3 chapters we have done till now. And I don't want anyone to go from there. If anyone goes, then from tomorrow I'll not be taking any revisions. You don't realize, but it is that revision that is going to help you. It is like the cherry on that cake. But you know, one thing that I definitely want from you all. One thing, I will be giving my 200% in the class, after the class, with the revisions, with everything. In the classes also, I'm trying my best, that to give you that maximum conceptual clarity. But one thing I want from you all is that one commitment, one dedication that, sir, we are going to get exemption in law. So that is something I want from you all. That is the return gift I want. In law, and I take very less face-to-face batches, very limited. In finals also, students used to request a lot for the face-to-face batches, but I used to take only 6 or 7 day fast-track batches. I never, used to take the full batches face-to-face because I didn't got the time. So if you are getting that privilege, do utilize it. Normally, students were utilizing it from the videos only. If you see that, then in CA final, you search any revision videos, still those revision videos are the highest, viewed YouTube videos in the YouTube. The DACTA revision videos, it still carries 2 lakh views. The FEMA revision videos that is there in your syllabus also, it has more than 3 lakh views. So those are used by the students across the country. So if you are having that particular privilege that you can take the classes face to face, then please ensure that nahi, kuch bhi ho, law mein we have to get 60. 60 I'm telling less, 70 also you can get. But at least 60 we have to get only. And this is my first batch, that I'm taking in English. Otherwise, from the last 8 years, the students have been requesting me from the south that, sir, please take the classes in English. But finally, after many years, this is the first time that, okay, I'm taking that full-fledged batch in English. Okay, let's do it this time. Now, every one of you have written, right? Okay. Now you see 387 subsection 2. What they are saying? No waiver of compliance in section prospectus. Any condition requiring or binding any applicant for securities to waive compliance with any requirement imposed by 387 subsection 1 shall be void. So basically the requirement of subsection section 387 subsection 1 cannot be waived off. The requirement of section 387 subsection 1 cannot be waived off. If there is any kind of condition, or if there is any kind of request, if there is any kind of application to waive of the compliance requirement of 387 subsection 1, that will be void. So basically 387 subsection 1 say you cannot get freedom. You cannot get freedom from 387 subsection 1. There will be no waiver of compliance in prospectus. Any condition requiring or binding an applicant for securities to waive compliance with any requirement under section 387 subsection 2 shall be void. This particular portion you can strike it off. This particular portion also you can strike it off. You come directly to this particular point, point number 4. Section 387 subsection 4 further provides that when will the provisions of section 387 will not be applicable? When will be the provisions of section 387 will not be applicable? So that is basically if we are making the issue to existing members, if the foreign company is making an issue to the existing members, or they are making an issue to the debenture holders of a company, of a prospectus or form of application relating to securities of the company, then in that particular scenario, this requirement will not be applicable. So if this particular issue is made to the existing members or debenture holders of a company of a prospectus, or form of application relating to securities of a company, whether an applicant for securities will not have the right to renounce in favor of other person. This you can ignore also. Whether an applicant for securities will or will not have the right to renounce in favor of other person, this you can ignore also. You just remember that if the issue is made to existing members or debenture holders of a company, then this requirement of section 387 is not applicable. And the issue of prospectus relating to securities which are to be in all respects uniform with the securities previously issued. So yeah, I'm summarizing it. So basically, if you see, once the company issue the securities, then section 387 requirements are applicable. But let us say company is making a similar issue. Company is making a similar issue of the same class of securities, and once again to the existing members only, existing debentures only. So already the similar issue the company has done before, and already to the same members the company has done before, and already that time all the requirements have been followed. So again the company is making a similar issue. Again the company is making a similar issue uniform with the securities previously issued. Means similar securities the company is issuing again, and to the same existing members or debenture holders only the company is issuing again. Then again it is illogical that again company gives so much disclosures and all. So that time it is not required. If you do same thing again and again, that time you will be getting exemptions. Now that first time when you did already you fulfilled the requirement. So second time you are doing the same thing. You are issuing the same kind of securities and you are issuing to the existing members or debenture holders. So requirement of section 387 is not applicable. Very simple. Now you see section 388. Now the technical part is gone. Now only 2-3 simple sections. Provisions as to experts consent and allotment. Provisions regarding expert consent and allotment. So you see what happens is that when the company, please hear it very nicely, when the company is issued a prospectus, company will say all the good thing about itself. That our company is doing good, our company is doing that, our company's prospectus is so nice. If you invest in our IPO, you'll be earning a lot of money. This is the projected earnings and so on. But tell me one thing, कोई भी company अपना prospectus निकालेगा and the company will be praising itself, in that particular document, in the prospectus. So will you be relying upon the company? No. But let us say, company ने prospectus निकाला है, and Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, he gives the statement in the prospectus. Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, he gives a statement in the prospectus that this company is going to do really well. I feel that this company is going to do really well, and I feel that the IPO of the company is going to do really well. Now in that situation, will that statement by Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, will it increase your faith or not? Yes. Because Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala is an expert who has given his consent in the prospectus. I believe every one of you know, right, who is Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. So if anyone does not know who is Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, so he is the king of stock market in India. He is the king of stock market in India at present. So now if someone like Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, he gives a statement in prospectus that the company is very, very nice. The prospects of the company is very, very nice. Then automatically it will increase the reliance or not? Yes. So sometimes what the company do is, normally in every issue what the company do is, they try to get expert statement included in their prospectus. They try to get expert statement included in their prospectus to increase the faith of the public. Now let us say Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala knows very well that whatever the company has included in the prospectus is totally false. But still, for some money, Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala gives a statement that the prospect of the company is really very nice. And you people relied upon the statement of Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and purchased the shares of the company, and you faced several losses. So in that situation, what should happen? In that situation, what should happen? The law does not allow that, but still people do it. Now later on, it is called that Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala gave a false statement. In that situation, what should happen? Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala should be punished. Yes or no? So law says in that situation that if the expert gives a false statement, then the expert will be punished. And he shall be liable for fraud under section 447. And he shall be liable for fraud under section 447. That is what the law says. Another thing law says that whenever the company is including the expert statement in the prospectus, he should have the consent of the expert. It is, let us say, now, if Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala has included that statement is false. Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala knew it is false. Still he gave that statement. He played with you all. He played with the innocence of you all. Such innocent people. You relied upon his statement, purchased the shares, suffered losses. Then he should be punished, right? Yes. That is, he will be liable for fraud. But now tell me one thing. Logically you tell. Now tell me one thing. Let us say, when will the statement of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala be included? Only when he has given his written consent. Only when he has given his written consent. Let us say the company contacted Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, but Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala never gave his consent for his statement to the included. Then can the company still include the statement of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala? No. Company cannot still disclose the statement of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. Let us say Rakesh Jhunjhunwala first gave his consent. He genuinely, right? Rakesh Jhunjhunwala first gave his consent. But later on, before the prospectus is issued, Mr. Jhunjhunwala informed the company, I want my consent to be withdrawn. I am withdrawing my consent. Then in that situation, can the company include the statement of Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala? No. Now logically you tell me one thing. When will Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala be punished? And when will Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala will not be punished? When he genuinely knew that the statement, that the information given in prospectus is false, and he gave his written consent to the office statement to be included, he will be punished. But let us say Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala never gave his written consent only. Company just included the name of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. The members also saw the name of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and purchased. Then will Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala be punished? Or let us say Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala gave his consent but withdraw his consent later on. Then in that situation, will Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala be punished? No. Logical? I am telling you what is more than what is given here. I am also building the base for prospectus chapter. We'll be discussing these things in the prospectus. Right. And lastly, logically, Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala gave his consent. He gave his written, please hear nicely. I'll not be repeating again. Please hear nicely. Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala gave his consent. He did not withdraw his consent also. Right. And he genuinely believed in the capacity of expert that whatever the company has stated is true. He genuinely believed in his capacity of expert that whatever company has included it is true. But the company is, so fraudulent that the company has manipulated Rakesh Jhunjhunwala also. The company had given false particulars to Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala also. Relying upon that false particulars only, Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala gave the statement. He genuinely believed in the capacity of expert that, everything is good in the company. Then in that situation, will Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala be punished? So in law, if you see in the prospectus chapter, this is the part of expert's consent they have given. That if expert has given his written consent, the expert statement can be included. And if expert has given the false statement, then expert will be liable. But expert will not be liable in 3 situations. 1, expert had not given his consent only. 2, expert had withdrawn his consent. And 3rd, expert genuinely gave that consent in the capacity of expert. And he genuinely believed that everything in the prospectus is true. So this you study in the prospectus chapter. In foreign company, only a very small part of it is here. Provisions as to experts' consent and allotment, section 388. According to this section, if where the prospectus includes a statement purporting to be made by an expert, no such prospectus shall be issued or circulated by a company incorporated outside India. Now, if the prospectus, so now the companies can do that they will just include the statement of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala and they will circulate the prospectus. Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala had not issued, given the consent only, and the public will see Rakesh Jhunjhunwala name and they will, purchase the shares. So in that particular scenario, what they are doing is, what the law says is that if the prospectus is including the statement of any expert, if the prospectus is including the statement of any expert, the foreign company will not be allowed to issue or circulate that prospectus to the public only, unless the written consent of expert has been obtained. Quite logical. So unless such expert has given written consent to issue it, and he has not withdrawn before delivery of the prospectus for registration such written consent, and the statement appears in the prospectus that expert's written consent is given and not withdrawn, so company will not be allowed to issue the prospectus only if the expert has not given his written consent and the expert has not withdrawn his consent. If the company is not including expert statement, then it's fine, not issue itself. But if the company is including an expert statement in the prospectus, then company can issue its prospectus only when the expert has given a written consent, expert has not withdrawn his consent. And the company will also include this statement in the prospectus that the expert has given his written consent and the expert has not withdrawn his consent. It is quite logical. If this provision is not there, then every foreign company will tell that, we have expert's opinion. And without taking the written consent of the expert, they will just write the expert's name. So this is what section 388 says. What it is saying, if the prospectus includes a statement given by the expert, it's not compulsory. If they include, company may give the statement expert, company may not give the statement expert. Do you think every company will have an expert's contact? No. That enhances the reliability of the public. If the company is including the statement of a expert, that will enhance the reliability of the general public. So big companies, when they issue their prospectus, they generally get expert statement included in the prospectus to enhance the trust of the public. Now, there was a requirement of section 387. There was a requirement of section 387 that prospectus can be issued only when it is registered with the ROC, it is properly dated, it is properly signed. There was the requirement. But now section 389 says that no prospectus will be issued unless it is properly registered. And when the prospectus will be properly registered? When the prospectus will be properly registered? When we will treat that, okay, the prospectus has been registered with the ROC. When the prospectus will be registered to the ROC. Because until and unless you don't register the prospectus with the ROC, you cannot issue to the public. So when the prospectus will be registered with the ROC. So you will have to submit a copy of prospectus to the ROC, yes or no? You will have to submit a copy of prospectus to the ROC. Now think logically. When you will be submitting a copy of prospectus to the ROC, that has to be certified by someone important in the company. Otherwise, how will the ROC rely? So what they are saying is, no prospectus shall be issued unless before the issue, circulation or distribution of the prospectus in India, the following conditions are satisfied. Condition number 1, a copy certified by the chairperson of the company. and 2 directors of the company approved by resolution of the managing body. A copy certified by chairperson of the company and 2 other directors of the company approved by resolution of the managing body has been delivered for registration to the registrar. तो प्रोस्पेक्टस की कॉपी को किसने सर्टिफाई किया है? Who has certified the copy of prospectus? The chairperson of the company and 2 directors, and not random 2 directors. Those 2 directors, those are approved by a resolution of the managing body. Now tell me one thing, if it was the Indian company, no, they would have written certified by the chairperson, 2 other directors approved by resolution in board meeting. But because it is a foreign company, different countries have their own laws, different countries have their own choice of words, so we are not very sure that there they use, there they use board resolution or what, there they use board meeting or what, board of directors or what, might be they are using some other word. So that is why just they have written approved by resolution of the managing body. Approved by the resolution of the managing body. Secondly, the prospectus states on the face of it that a copy has been delivered. The prospectus that will be issued to the public, in that prospectus also it will be written that the same prospectus has been delivered to the ROC also, so that the shareholders will have a faith, okay, भगवान को भी प्रसाद मिला है. The members will have a faith that okay, company has issued the prospectus to the ROC also, and the ROC has also verified. And thirdly, if expert has given his consent, if expert has given his statement, then a consent of the expert must be there. If company has included Rakesh Jhunjhunwala's statement in the prospectus, a copy of the consent given by the expert shall also be given in the prospectus. That we are not just including Rakesh Jhunjhunwala name. This is the consent copy of Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. So prospectus will be issued only if these 3 conditions they satisfy. If these 3 conditions they don't satisfy, company cannot issue prospectus. Foreign company cannot issue prospectus. Section 389. What are the conditions? First condition, the certified copy. You see, again they have used the word certified. Certified copy of the prospectus has to be filed to ROC. Certified copy of the prospectus has to be filed to ROC. And how it is certified? By the chairperson of the company, 2 directors approved by resolution of managing body. Second condition, the prospectus that will be issued to the public will consist on its face that the same prospectus has been delivered to ROC. And thirdly, if the company has included the consent of expert, a consent letter of the expert will also be attached. Only if the company satisfies these 3 conditions, they can issue the prospectus, otherwise they will not be able to issue the prospectus. Because there are more chances now that the foreign company might issue the prospectus, they might loot the public, they might take the money and go away. So these conditions must be there. These conditions must be there. And along with the prospectus, now please see again something you have to learn. There are some things you have to memorize only. There are few things you can understand in law, and there are few things you have to memorize. So along with the copy of prospectus, the following documents must be annexed to the prospectus. Again, important. Like along with the copy of financial statement, there were a few documents to be filed additionally in apart from financial statement. So here similarly, apart from the prospectus, the following documents must also be annexed to the prospectus. ROC को खाली prospectus नहीं चाहिए. The following statement must also be given. What are the statement to be given? First, consent of the consent, any consent given by the expert. First is that point only. If the expert statement the company has included along with the prospectus, the company is also required to annex the consent statement given by the expert. That is very simple. Secondly, a copy of contracts for appointment of managing director or manager. So company का जो भी managing director है, जो भी manager है, a copy of contracts for appointment of managing director and manager. You just remember up to here, a copy of contracts for appointment of managing director or manager. Third, a copy of any other material contract entered within preceding 2 years. If company not entered in the ordinary course of business, they are not talking about those material contracts entered in ordinary course of business. But apart from the ordinary course of business, if company has entered into some kind of material contract, let us say, you see, logically you see, the company is issuing the prospectus. Prospectus is a document to invite the shares, to invite for the subscription of shares. If company has entered into some kind of material contract in the last 2 years, and because of that contract, it might affect the profitability of the company in future. Because of that contract, it might affect the existence of company in future. Let us say company has entered into some kind of material contract in the last 2 years. That company will be entering into some kind of joint venture. Company will be entering into some kind of amalgamation. Or company will be discontinuing its operations in some places. So it can be anything important, na? So if company has entered into any material contracts in the last 2 years, copy of those also has to be given. Copy of underwriting agreement. Copy of underwriting agreement. Do you know what is underwriting agreement? And who don't know? How many of you don't know what is underwriting agreement? Anyone? Okay. So I will be just telling in brief what is underwriting agreement also. Just let me complete the points. A copy of the underwriting agreement. So what is underwriting agreement? I'll just tell you in short. And the fifth requirement is copy of power of attorney, if prospectus is signed by the agent of directors. Now let us say the director himself has not signed the prospectus. The director himself has not signed the prospectus. Some agent of the director has signed the prospectus. In that situation, director must have given the power of attorney to his agent. So the power of attorney, the director has given to the agent. So these are the 5 details. So first tell me, what are the documents to be annexed with the prospectus? Then I'll be telling you the underwriting agreement thing. What are the 5 things? Any consent to the issue of prospectus, copy of contracts for appointment of MD manager, copy of material contracts entered in the last 2 years, copy of underwriting agreement, copy of power of attorney if prospectus is signed by the agent of directors. Now, what do we mean by underwriting agreement? Just I'm telling in short. You know, in law, whenever the company issues the shares, there is a requirement of minimum subscription. Right? In law, whenever company issues shares, there is a requirement of minimum subscription. That at least 90% of your issue must be subscribed. Now, there is always a risk that suppose if the company has done the issue and that minimum subscription requirement is not made, then the company will have to refund all the money the company has received. So what the company does is that company does an underwriting agreement. Company खुद share issue नहीं करता. Company appoints a person known as merchant banker. Company appoints a person known as merchant banker to issue the share to the public. So companies generally they don't issue the shares to public by themselves. Company appoints a person known as merchant bankers to issue the shares to the public. These merchant bankers are big banks, big financial institutions. So company normally what they does is they make some tie up with the merchant banker to issue shares to the public. Now when the company does a transaction through the merchant banker what they do is merchant banker will issue the share to the public on behalf of the company and take a commission for that. Merchant banker will issue the share to the public and take a commission for that. So now you will think, sir, company खुद share क्यों नहीं issue कर रहा? Why they are giving commission to the merchant banker and asking the merchant banker to issue? Because the company will also enter a underwriting agreement with the merchant banker. Now what the underwriting agreement will be, that the merchant banker will agree that suppose if the minimum subscription requirement is not met, let us say instead of 90% only 80% of the shares have been subscribed, then we will subscribe remaining 10% of the shares. And the requirement of minimum subscription will be met. So by entering into an agreement with an underwriter, company totally eliminates the risk of not meeting the minimum subscription requirement. By entering into an underwriting agreement, company क्या करता है, that the risk of not meeting the minimum subscription requirement and refunding the money, company totally eliminates that risk. company enters into an underwriting agreement with a merchant banker that boss, you issue the share to the public, you take a commission for that. That commission is your income, but the risk you have to take is, suppose if minimum 90% of the members don't subscribe the share, you will have to subscribe the remaining share. So that is the copy of underwriting agreement. Understood? So these foreign companies also have to enter a copy of underwriting agreement. They have entered into an agreement with a underwriter also. So these 5 details are to be annexed with the prospectus. So what are the 5 details to be annexed with the prospectus? What are the 5 details to be annexed with the prospectus? You can also remember it like this. You can also remember it like this. CM, Chief Minister, enters material contracts. CM enters material contracts and underwriting agreement. CM enters material contracts and underwriting agreement and issues power of attorney to his agent. CM enters material contracts and underwriting agreements and issues the power of attorney to his agent. That is C for consent of expert, consent letter. M for, yeah, that is MD manager appointment letter. MD manager appointment letter contract. Then material contracts. Entered in last 2 years. Underwriting agreement and power of attorney. Underwriting agreement and the power of attorney. Now no break will be there. Now no break will be there. Now the class will complete only. Now no break will be there. This chapter will get completed in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then we'll be revising the chapter. Once I give the 5 minutes break also, you people will run away. No break. Yeah, in class only I will give 5 minutes break, but you are not supposed to go out. Or I'll be, just let me complete this chapter in 10 minutes, or I'll be giving with one condition, that if you don't come after the break, then from tomorrow, no revisions. Okay. So this you noted down. CM enters material contracts and underwriting agreements and issued power of attorney to his agents. So basically the chief minister have to issue a prospectus. The chief minister have to issue a prospectus, and when the chief minister has to issue a prospectus, he enters material contracts and underwriting agreements, issues the POA to his agents. So along with the prospectus, these 5 things are to be given. If you don't need the formula, don't use the formula. If you feel that you need the formula, you learn using the formula. And if you have a better formula, then you can, use your own formula. One more formula also you can use. One more good thing has come to my mind. You can also use CMPM. You can also use CMPM. प्रोस्पेक्टस के साथ क्या इश्यू होगा? CMPM. CMPM. So C for consent of expert. M for MD manager appointment letter. Right. Then M से one more point will come, material contracts enter in the last 2 years. P से power of attorney. P से power of attorney. Okay, only that underwriting agreement thing is not coming. Or CM enters into an underwriting agreement with PM. CM enters into an underwriting agreement with PM. Which is better? CM enters into a underwriting agreement with PM. You write in the bracket, you can use them. CM enters into an underwriting agreement with the PM. Now, this particular chapter will be completing only then, and it's hardly 10 minutes chapter, hardly 10 minutes. And all technical part is over. Section 390, offer of Indian depository receipts. Section 390, offer of IDR. This will do at the last. Section 391. This just says application of section 34 to 36 and chapter 10 to chapter 20. So basically sections 34 to 36 we are going to study in prospectus. Section 34 to 36 we are going to study in prospectus. That whenever the company gives a wrong information in the prospectus, whenever the company gives a wrong information in the prospectus, the directors there and the company will be liable. There will be a civil liability, there will be a criminal liability. This is only volume 1 you have got. Currently you have got only volume 1. Again, same size booklet, volume 2 you will be getting. In company law, you have 10 chapters in total. And in other laws, you have 4 chapters. So total you have 14 chapters. Huh? Volume 2 you will get later. Yeah, volume 2 you will get later. In the next visit you will get. That also I am only doing. So that will be coming later. Yeah. Just a second. So application of section 34 to 36, chapter 20. Chapter 20 is nothing but winding up. Chapter 20 is nothing but winding up provisions. So they are just saying that even the provisions of section 34 to 36 and the provisions of winding up will be applicable to a foreign company. So nothing to study. Winding up is not there in your syllabus, and section 34 to 36 you shall study in the prospectus chapter. Section 392, mark it very, very important. One of the most important penalties in your company law. Punishment for contravention. You know this particular penalty, when this particular chapter was there in your CA finals, this particular penalty has come for at least 5 or 6 times. Every alternative attempt there was the question on penalty for foreign companies. What if the foreign companies has done a contravention? So very, very important. You see, penalty for foreign companies. So penalty will be on the company and the penalty will be on the officers. Penalty will be on the company and the penalty will be on the officers. Right. Now, always remember one thing. You see in penalties, sometimes only fine will be given. For penalties, I'll be making you write separately. For penalties, you say sometimes only fine will be given. Sometimes jail also will be given. Sometimes fine will be given, sometimes jail also will be given. Now that is something you have to think logically only when you memorize. Once I saw that a student says penalty yaad nahi rehta. Now a section was there of the penalty. The penalty was there on the officer also, company also. In the penalty part, the monetary fine was also there, the jail thing was also there. It's fine, you might get confused. But the student had written in the exam, company goes into jail. Now that much logic you must have now, that company will not go into jail. That part will be for the officer only. Right. So again, penalty will be for the officers, penalty will be for the company. Earlier in foreign companies chapter, the officers were made to go to jail. But now they have brought an amendment in the act, and foreign company officers, the directors, they don't put to jail. They only take monetary penalty. Otherwise, the government says that as if foreign companies don't come to do business, and if we, scared them by that will put you to jail, then they again will not come into business. Fine for them, what is that? Nothing. 1 lakh, 2 lakh, 3 lakh fine for the foreign companies, that is nothing, like your pocket money. So what is the punishment for contravention for foreign companies? You see, for foreign company, the fine is minimum 1 lakh, maximum 3 lakh. Minimum 1 lakh, maximum 3 lakh. And if it's a continuing default, continuing default means, let us say some filing has to be done to the ROC. Now the filing has to be done within 6 months. But 6 months has passed, but still the filing is not done. Now let us say filing is not done till 9 months. Then for 3 months it will be a continuing default. Means you have done a default, and jab tak default chalta rahega, that is a continuing default. Till the time you continue doing the default, that's a continuing default. So jab tak default karoge, tab tak every day will charge penalty. Jab tak default karoge, tab tak every day will charge penalty. So in case of continuing default, an additional fine on the foreign company of 50,000 rupees per day, after the first, be careful, after the first, during which the contravention continues. It means, let us say there is a continuing default for 20 days. You don't count the first day. First day chhod denge after the first. Means there is a default. After that per day we are going to levy penalty. But default ke baad, that the first day that will be there. For that will not levy. First day will leave. So leave the first day. Leave the first day of default. Leave the first day of default. So penalty will be levied only for 19 days. Penalty will be levied only for 19 days. So in case of continuing default, an additional fine that may goes up to 50,000 rupees per day after the fine during which the contravention continues. And do remember, it is an additional fine. And then the penalty will be there for the officers in default. The penalty will be minimum 25,000, maximum 5 lakhs, minimum 25,000, maximum 5 lakhs. And there is one thing very significant. There is one thing very significant about the penalty given here. In entire law, you see wherever penalty is given, the minimum penalty, the maximum penalty will always be more for company and less for an officer. In entire law, because company is treated as big, officer is treated as small. So in entire law, when you see the minimum maximum penalty, the maximum penalty will always be more in case of company, less for officer. But only in case of foreign company penalty, you see the maximum penalty in case of a company was 3 lakh and the maximum penalty for the officer is 5 lakhs. Right? The maximum penalty for company is 5 lakhs. And now, when the student asks, sir, penalty yaad karna hai, nahi karna hai? What I always advise, see, remembering all the penalties is not possible for you. But whatever penalty is given in your study material, in the study material questions part, or you see any penalty in your mock test paper, or you see any penalty in your revision test paper, only those penalties you do, because many times the penalties are repeated from there. So at least those penalties you do. All penalties you cannot do, but all the penalties given at the end of your ICS study mat, we have given you the question bank. Then any penalty you will see in your mock test paper, any penalty you will see in your RTP, at least those penalties you compulsorily do. Right. So this is the punishment for contravention in case of foreign companies. Then section 393. Now you see, company's failure to comply with the provisions. If a foreign company has not complied with the provisions of this chapter, if a foreign company has not complied with the provisions of this chapter, then what they are saying, they will say that now the company will lose its powers. Company will lose its powers. Outsider can file a case against the company, but company will not be able to file any case against the outsider. If the company does not comply with the provisions of this act, then the law says company will become so helpless that the outsiders will be able to file case against the company for any default, but company will not be able to file a case against the outsider. Let us say company also has to give certain money, company has to recover certain money. The people who wants to recover money from the public can file case against the company. But company cannot file the case against the people with whom the company has to recover the money. Company cannot sue. Company cannot bring any legal proceeding against the other person. But the company can be sued. Legal proceeding can be brought against the company. So for foreign company, the monetary penalty is too less. For foreign company, the monetary penalty is too less. Jail provision they removed. So section 393 will bring a fear that if we don't comply with the provisions of this chapter, our legal status will get challenged. Others can sue, but company cannot sue. Right? Others can sue, but company cannot sue. Others can recover money from the company, but company cannot recover money from the public. So helpless the company will become. That is what section 393 says. 393A, you can just strike it off. What they are saying, CG has the power to exempt any government company. CG has the power to exempt any government company, exempt any class of foreign company, if they are, offering securities in the IFSC. You just write one line. CG has the power to exempt any class of foreign company if they are offering securities in the IFSC. You can strike off also, no need. CG has the power to exempt any class of foreign companies if they are offering any securities in the IFSC, International Financial Service Center. Because the foreign company is so nice. The foreign companies has come to India and the foreign companies are offering subscription for securities in the IFSC, International Financial Services Center. They are trying to develop that area. So CG can give exemption. CG has the power. If the CG wants, they can give exemption. But never they will ask you. The CG may exempt any class of foreign company if they offer securities. If they offer securities, the company can exempt any class of foreign company. The CG may exempt any class of foreign companies if they offer any securities for subscription, and the CG may exempt any class of foreign companies. You just underline, the CG may by notification exempt any class of foreign companies if they relate it relates to offering for securities in subscription in the International Financial Service Center. Just read whatever I have underlined. Just read whatever I have underlined. The CG by notification exempt any class of foreign companies if they relate to the offering of securities, subscription in the securities in the International Financial Service Center. Last 2 minute section, then we can take 5 minutes break. The last section of the chapter. Section 390. See, very interesting. Section 390. Offer of Indian Depository Receipts. Offer of Indian Depository Receipts. See, please pay attention, only 2 minutes. Please pay attention, only 2 minutes. You are CA students. What's the difference between a extraordinary success, a student who gets extraordinary success versus the student who fails? What's the difference? A normal student, he feels tired, he's like, I'm tired. But an extraordinary student, when he feels tired, he will half hour more. You have to study half hour more. And he will push his brain and he will study half hour more. And believe me, that half hour more will create the difference. In the gym you go, so a normal person, he will be like, workout time 40 minutes over. And the other person, no, my body is tired, but still half hour more. And then when his body is tired, when half hour more he does, that creates all the difference. Right? So you have to create the difference. When your body is tired, when your mind is tired, you have to push yourself half hour more. When that half hour is done, then you have to push 15 minutes more. Come to section 390. Only 5 minutes more. Offer of Indian Depository Receipts. You can see the time in the phone, only 5 minutes. Offer of Indian Depository Receipts. Right. Now, come here. There is a provision of extension of time that may be extended by another 3 minutes. Okay. Now, you must have heard a term known as global depository receipts. So basically what happens is that if an Indian company goes in the foreign market and issues securities, offer subscription of securities, they issue global depository receipts. Similarly, if a Videshi company, a body corporate, comes in India, if a Videshi company comes in India and coming in India, what they do is, they offer securities in Videshi companies. What they do is, like GDR, there is a concept of IDR. Like GDR, there is a concept of IDR that the foreign companies will come in India and raise funds from the public. The foreign companies, they will come to India and they will raise funds from the public. And when the foreign companies comes to India and they raise funds from the public, they issue something known as Indian Depository Receipts. They issue something known as Indian Depository Receipts. But let me tell you, practically this concept is redundant. Let me tell you, practically this concept is useless. Till now, no company has ever issued IDR. Only once Standard Chartered Bank had issued IDR. Only once. Only once in its lifetime the Standard Chartered Bank issued IDR. That, we are just issuing IDR for the sake of building a connectivity with the Indian market. And then also later on they cancelled the IDR. That too they cancelled later on. And after that, no company has ever issued IDR. Because here the restrictions are so much and here the interest rate is so high that no company has issued IDR. Clear? So practically this concept is not relevant. The chances of coming in the exam is very, very less. So that is why just remember 2 or 3 lines. What I am telling, that by chance in the exam the question comes, you must know those 2 or 3 lines. The central government may make rules applicable for the offer of IDR. So basically, if any foreign company wants to come and issues IDR in India, the CG may make rules. How to offer IDR? What will be the requirement of disclosures in prospectus? How the sale and transfer of IDRs will be done? The manner of sale, transfer, transmission of IDR. The CG may make rules. The CG may make rules regarding this very matters. Just do whatever I have underlined because chances are very less that it will come. But still I am making you mark some areas that at least do this much. The CG may make rules applicable for the offer of IDR, requirement of disclosures in prospectus, the manner of sale, transmission or transfer of IDR, by a company incorporated or to be incorporated outside India. Now you see what they have given: by a company incorporated or to be incorporated outside India, whether it has established the place of business in India or not. Whether it has established the place of business in India or not. It means they are talking about foreign companies or they are talking about body corporates. They are talking about body corporates. It means they are talking about body corporates. They have not used the word body corporate, but you can understand that they are talking about body corporates. We also understand by this statement that any body corporate can issue IDR in India. In law, things are not given directly, but we can also understand by this that body corporates, any body corporate can issue IDR in India. Now, basically when the IDR is issued, it has to comply with the SEBI conditions. It has to comply with the SEBI conditions. No IDR can be issued unless it complies with the conditions. In addition to the conditions of the SEBI, and directions issued by the RBI. So basically, if the company issues IDR, follow SEBI guidelines, follow SEBI plus RBI guidelines. Plus follow rules prescribed by CG. Whenever the company issues IDR in India, they need to follow SEBI guidelines, they need to follow RBI guidelines, and they need to follow the rules prescribed by CG. So whenever the company issues IDR, they need to follow SEBI guidelines, plus they need to follow RBI guidelines, plus they need to follow the rules prescribed by the CG. Now, one more statement, just what you have to learn at last. If a foreign company wants to merge with an Indian company, it needs RBI approval. If a foreign company wants to merge with an Indian company, it needs RBI approval. A foreign company, they want to merge with Indian company. So what is needed? Prior RBI approval. So Firangi wants to marry Indian. Mother approval is needed. Mother's approval is needed. You know, when I teach Banking Regulation Act, when I used to teach, it was there in CA final, I always used to say RBI is the mother, CG is the father. So Firangi wants to marry Indian, mother's approval is needed. So foreign company wants to amalgamate, merge with the Indian company, take prior approval of RBI. And again they have clarified. What they say: a foreign company wants to merge with RBI, merge with Indian company, take prior approval of RBI. Now, what understanding you get from this statement? That only a foreign company can merge with an Indian company. That is the understanding you get. But in foreign company, only those companies come which have a place of business in India. In foreign companies, only those companies come which carry on a business in India. It means, if we technically see, that a body corporate means a company, not a foreign company, not carrying a business in India, if they want to merge with an Indian company, they cannot do. But don't you think this is illogical? Any company, any Videshi should be allowed to marry with an Indian. Any Firangi must be allowed to marry with an Indian, na? It should not be important, na, that the Firangi must do business in India to marry an Indian girl. Any Firangi must be allowed to marry an Indian, whether it does business in India or not. So there is a confusion in the law, na? In your basic class, I told you, sometime if there is a confusion in the law, to give clarity, the lawmaker gives explanation. I explained you word explanation also. Now see that explanation, how the lawmaker is using to remove the confusion. For the purpose of subsection 2 above, the expression foreign company means any company or body corporate incorporate outside India, whether having a place of business in India or not. I could have just made you write that okay, any body corporate, if they are merging with an Indian company, will require RBI approval. But I'm just trying to give you the feel how law is made. First, the lawmaker wrote, any foreign company wants to merge with an Indian company, take RBI approval. Then someone might have told the lawmaker, array, it means a body corporate cannot do any merger. Oh, we forgot that foreign company means only those companies carrying on business in India. We should have better used the word body corporate. But now, what to do? Give explanation. So they gave explanation and gave the clarity. So you just remember, any Firangi can marry an Indian girl, take mother's approval. Any Firangi can marry an Indian, take mother's approval, prior mother's approval. That Firangi might be doing the business in India, that Firangi might not be doing the business in India. अरे Firangi अच्छा होना चाहिए, पैसे वाला होना चाहिए. He is earning in India or outside India matters करता है क्या? No. That's it, na. Right. So now we are taking a 5 minutes break.